Welcome to No Such Thing as Normal podcast with Natalie Hayes and Jess McKeown.
This is a casual podcast where we talk about all the things you're not supposed to talk about in order to help you normalize your real life, because really we're all just a bunch of weirdos having a completely human experience in a society that asks us to pretend like we're not.
And I'm your host, Jess, a gifted channel for the spirit baby realm who facilitates deep soul healing by delivering divine messages and teaching you how to connect with your spirit babies.
And I'm your other host, Natalie, an intuitive mentor and transformative healer and a new mom.
Yay, we love that for you. Be sure to subscribe where you listen to podcasts, watch our 100% unedited episodes on YouTube, and then you can also Instagram and the Jaguar and at Intuitively Natalie for more weirdo and woo-woo content.
And if you like this episode, please be sure to rate and review and share it on your social media and tag us so that more people can unleash their weird with you.
Yeah, we want you to be like, I just heard this great podcast and I need you to listen to it right now. That's our goal.
Yeah, because the Pentagon just said that there was a mothership of aliens in our galaxy. So, like, obviously, it's just going to get weirder from here.
It's disclosure time, baby. And speaking of weird and awesome, we have our guest coming back. So we're going to let her in right now.
Yeah.
Look who we have. We have Sara Armour.
Sara Armour in the house.
Armour. Yeah. And you came on last time and we loved it. We had so much fun and we have a lot of shit going on in the planets. I mean, if shit's going on, people are like, what's going on? I say, look at the sky.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. We were just talking about how, you know, like two banks collapse totally ties with what's going on in astrology. But like, what do we know?
I mean, it's simply a cosmic mirror. That's all.
That's all. It's cosmic mirror.
It's casual.
But tell people.
It's casual cosmic mirror.
Since the last time we saw you, if you have any updates to your bio, what are you doing these days?
Well, okay, this was actually the other thing that I meant to tell you while we were not recording, but what a great way to intro. Yeah. So, okay, hi, I'm Sara. I am a life coach, astrologer, comedian, producer. I run twice monthly moon rituals that before COVID were in real life at comedy clubs. And now since COVID, they're on Zoom and they're staying on Zoom. Turns out we've got a cool international community. You're welcome to come join. And it's super fun. It's donation based. So it's a community event. And we do moon rituals every new moon and full moon on the Zoom moon ritual. I've been trying to figure out how to make, because like, you know, Zoom and moon are the same word, but like, disease, like, you know, so that's just something to like everybody think about, like, how do we capitalize on Zoomule or moon Zoom ritual? Like what's catchiest, but we're keeping it on Zoom. But, you know, we are having major planetary changes, like starting like today, like literally this week is like the biggest week of change that we've all experienced, I think, since Kobe died. And RIP. But what I was so excited to tell you is that, you know, we're at the end of this Pluto in Capricorn phase. And on your birthday, on the 23rd, Pluto for the first time is moving out of Capricorn since 2008. And wouldn't you know, on the 24th and 25th, I am making my grand return to the comedy stage. I'm featuring in Boston, which I think is just so astrologically perfect, because one of the things that we had talked about is like, you don't have to do things the way other people do them. And so I kind of took like a post-COVID year, the way people do like a post-grad year. Like, I'm staying in for a whole nother one, if that's cool.
Yeah.
And just so finally, as this Pluto is emerging, it just so happens that this is when I got booked with doing just what you said, like not actually trying or making an extra effort and having to prove anything or having to. And it's like, wow, how about that? The astrology doesn't lie. So all this to say, I'm a comedian, I'm a coach, I'm an astrologer, I'm a producer, but I was a latent comedian since Kobe died. But now, because Pluto's ingress, I'm getting back on stage. So if you're in Boston on the 24th and 25th, I'll be at Nick's Comedy Stop
of March.
Kobe would be so proud.
Well, and be there with me. How fun to be back on stage and doing what you're doing. Okay, I kind of feel like Pluto is coming on my birthday for me.
Hey, it's for Jess.
My moon. I'm such an Aries. I fucking love being an Aries. I'm like, is this selfish? Because it's fun.
No, it's on brand.
And it actually is where the eclipses are this year. So we actually all need to be looking towards Jessica and her way of being, because that is literally the lesson of the next, you know, 18 months or, you know, even longer than that, because this is sort of like, sort of a gap year.
Yes, I'm a selfish bish. But my moon is in Aquarius, so I feel like it's extra for me.
No, when I looked at your chart before this, I was shook.
a big planetary thing like happen on your birthday, like, you know, like they say, oh, this day, that day, whatever, but like when it happens on your birthday. And so I was asking you before, I'm like, what should I do? Like, should I hunker down? Should I like hide? Should I be like, you know, in my little covey thing, or like, what should I do for my birthday?
I mean, I think the specifics of whether it's like Carvel cake, Chuck E. Cheese, a spa day is sort of, that's Aries, that's up to you.
Yes, I do have a spa day planned.
Okay, wow.
Wow.
Tell me I'm not psychic. Tell me I knew Chuck E. Cheese. That was a throwaway. Chuck E. Cheese was a throwaway. I don't even know if they're open anymore. Obviously, it's spa day, but no, I don't think it's hunker down. And this is for anybody that has like major Aquarius energy that is feeling a little bit afraid of like what this Pluto transit means for them. Here's the thing about Pluto transit. There is no fear because Pluto is, it's, you know, one might say it is overall the most powerful of the planets. It's a really, it makes a great case for sort of, you know, it's not the size, it's the motion of the ocean. Like that is like literally Pluto. It's like, it's a tiny little planet that's far away. And yet, you know, it really, the motion of the ocean is there. Like it really, it makes waves. It makes waves. But Pluto transits are really slow. So Pluto's going to be in Aquarius for the next 40 years. It's going to be kind of going in and out of Aquarius, like kind of moving into Aquarius on your birthday. But then later in the year, it'll move back to Capricorn for a few months. And then 2024, it's mostly in Aquarius. And then it moves back a little bit. By 2025, Pluto is solidly in Aquarius. So if anything, what I would do on your birthday, aside from like a spa day, is like maybe just like do some freaking mushrooms and like envision into, because what we're going to all get a glimpse of is like, we're all getting like an into the looking glass, like a peek into the themes of the future, but it's not going to fully, we're sort of in this like transition phase, sort of a dark ages, like, but we're making fun vibe until like 2025, when we're kind of really, we're fully moved into, you know what it kind of reminds me of with these slow transiting planets? It's like when you're in between apartments and it's like you have the lease like a month early. Like you still have one month left, but then you get to move in. So it's like you kind of slowly move your stuff over, but it's not until like the other lease ends that you're officially like, I'm done. This is my new place. So that's like just sort of where we are in terms of the vibe.
Okay, so like, why does Pluto want to keep going back to the Capricorn apartment where they left stuff?
Because we are all fucking sentimental and nostalgic. We don't want to actually have change unless it hurts enough that we are forced to. Like, I think it's and I think it's helpful to sort of, you know, what is Abraham? It's the contrast, like the clarities and the contrast, you know, like there's sort of this, you know, I just realized Abraham sort of sounds like Greta Thunberg, but that's just the first thought, but they sort of have like a similar speaking voice, but it's sort of like, you know, I think like actually though, like, well,
I'm like, maybe Greta's just channeling all this shit.
She's like,
she's an alien.
Reincarnate.
She's for sure an alien.
Oh yeah,
she's for sure an alien.
And
we love you, Greta.
Is she an Aquarius?
I think
we'll look later, but I think she might be.
Yeah,
she has big Aquarian energy, that's for sure.
Yeah,
but yeah, I sort of feel like, why does it always go back and forth? Because like, I mean, it's like anything. Think about when you like, you know, shave in the shower. If you haven't shaved for a while, it takes a few, you might be like, I swear to God, I shaved my ankle. I swear to God, I shaved my knee. I swear to God, I was bleeding from the knee. How do I still have hair in my knee? It's like,
always on the back of the knee.
You got to get back in the shower and you got to finish shaving the knee, even though you thought you shaved the knee. So I think that's the whole thing. It's like this whole idea that, and actually it's sort of apropos because and I think one of the things that this Pluto and Capricorn transit, maybe one of the things that perhaps it's taught us, journal on it, everybody journals out, think about what has been slowly evolving from the depths of your psyche since January 2008. And think about where Pluto is in your chart. Also, I mean, where Capricorn is in your chart, also Cancer, also Aries, also Libra. The cardinal energies have been going through this sort of unavoidable, totally transformational, but slow. It's the same thing too. It's like, I'm 5'4", but I wasn't 5'4" when I was born, you know, like we have to slow growth when it comes to actual like growth and change. So that's how Pluto works. So but what I think is interesting is like in this culture of like fast everything, like not only have we sort of forgotten the the concept of like contemplating and like slow responses, and everything is so instant that I sort of think part of what the planets, no matter what, keep us in check with is like, it doesn't matter how fast you sprint ahead or how, like, there is no instant, and everything is always evolving. And even when, like, even the healing process, it's like a metaphor for healing, which is that like you're never like, I sort of hate the word healing because it's like you're never like healed. It's like there's no like there. It's like you're gonna die also. Like but
healing.
The process of how we like return to these wounds, or how we play out the karma, in the physical, like we're always gonna come up against the same bruise or memory. We can't like mind erase. This isn't Men in Black. We can't like just like actually I forget that. It's like, no, we're always gonna come upon the same things, but every time we come upon it, there's sort of like a marked difference, and we can spiral up instead of spiraling down. But I do think it takes contrast sometimes to show like, oh wait, before we go there, it's like when you're halfway there and you're like, I forgot my phone.
Yes.
So there's an opportunity for everybody to run back and grab their phones before this ultimate transition in 2025.
That's so gracious. Thank you, Pluto. Like, that's so nice.
Love that. Well,
thank you
and
so
like
much, Pluto.
Yeah, so
2008
nice.
January, I was just about to move from San Francisco to Cleveland, Ohio. I got engaged in March.
Hey.
And it's so funny because I feel like this, for me, always before my birthday, I just feel like, it's Pisces season is like, oh, fuck, because it's like super emotional and I just want to get in spring and but I have to like steep in the Pisces. But I've been feeling this extra energy of completion. And this makes a lot of sense for me because it's like my Pluto is in Libra.
Yep.
Right. And so like this whole relationship, my whole life changed. I was like a corporate worker. I moved to Ohio for this job. And then I was so stressed out that I found yoga that led me to my yoga pathway, which led me to my healing. I mean, it was just this whole thing. And so now I'm kind of
literally look.
What's happening? I know, chills,
goosebumps,
chills.
Gonna happen. Like I'm kind of excited but that was a long stretch. It was a long ass stretch.
Oh my God. I mean, it has been a journey. And I think also the difference between Pluto and Capricorn versus Pluto in Aquarius is that Pluto in Aquarius is very much like revolutionary for the people. And so there's sort of more of like a burn down the house, but like party vibe, like we are one, like band together zombie apocalypse vibe. Whereas like when Pluto's moving through Capricorn, it's actually like what we like of course it was like your corporate job that actually led you to burn the fuck out, or like that forced you into yoga, that then forced you into like acknowledging your purpose, then that actually had you trying to figure out how to be yourself in this like capitalist world, and how to trust yourself above what like society tells you is like normal or like realistic or feasible. Like Capricorn is very much like the realistic facade, the systems, the structures, the what we aspire to. It's ambition. It's so like for that to be your journey is really cool. And then okay, so your Pluto is in Libra, so you're having a Pluto square now coming up, which square is tension, but it also is kind of like the turning of the wheel of it's sort of, I love square energy. Actually, I think square energy is really freaking fun because the creative comedy is nothing without tension. True. Again, unless there's like actual reason to change, unless there's an iceberg right ahead, we're just fucking snoozing in the cockpit, like we're not like really present to the power and the potential when we actually have to engage. So I actually think a Pluto in Libra coming into this like Aquarian, like next 40 years of Pluto in Aquarius, I think you're going to actually be activated even more deeply into your work, which on the one hand is about like, I'm just riffing, cut it if this is not what,
I love it.
I don't want to reveal too much, but like without even getting too deep into it, it's like, the baby making process actually is about relationships ultimately. And it's about relationship work. It does take two to tango. So, maybe this brings you deeper into your own sort of, maybe it deepens your practice in a way that you can actually work with like couples differently, or you actually are bringing like, you're really actually on a larger mission on some level, just thinking about your chart to like, I'll say this, it's interesting that you're saying that what happened in January 2008, what's the other day you posted the most romantic, like Like, I have been like, I don't even know that I want marriage or kids. Like, I don't even know. When I saw your like reel about your like true love of 20 years, I was like, fuck Jessica, man. Like, it was like so sincere and like, and like, you're not someone that's like posting you guys in like Bali all the time. So it like really is really rang true. Like, you're not hitting us with the good times, you know, like, and I was just like this really, I'm like, wow, Jessica, like, damn, she seems like actually happily married, like shit, and he's hot, and like the whole thing's like really hot, and all those pictures of you looking like freaking you're the Friends cast, like from when you first met, and it was like so like again so inspiring to me because I was like, all right, you know what? Maybe love is real.
Maybe it's not so bad.
Maybe that is possible for me too. And but so even that being a part of like what you're like what you on a core level is present to in your own life, like maybe even bringing more of that work and that love work into this next era. I don't know, it could be something to think about. We'll look deeper into the charts later, but like I don't think you should run and hide at all. I think you should walk around like Harriet the Spy with your little notebook out, taking notes about what like signs and synchronicities you're seeing, and be like, this might be the future, this might be the future, this might be the future, and then like meditate on it.
I'm going to
Vision
Olympic
quest.
Spa. I'm going to be in the spa all day, and I'm going out to dinner, and so I think I'm going to do that. Just like let shit download, be in that like watery vibe. Even though I'm hot and fiery, I'll go into like some hot rooms too, but and sweat it out. I love it.
Hell yeah, dude.
Okay,
Hell
I'm excited. I'm kind of curious what was happening in Natalie's life in 2008.
Yeah.
Jess, I was gonna graduate high school.
It's a little baby. It's a little baby.
In May, graduated high school in May. So there's that. Oh, actually, I moved out of my parents' house before I graduated. Yeah.
Ooh.
17. So that was a big,
like,
fuck you to the system.
You're like,
wait, that was 2008? You moved out of your parents?
Yeah, like March or something, February.
Oh, right, because you went to college in 2008.
In the fall, yeah, but I moved out before I graduated high school.
Because you're like a whole, I'm like a, so I went to college in 2004. So you're like the little sibling of my like 4-year experience.
Yeah. So that's what I was doing in 2008. I moved out.
Kind of interesting. I mean, I don't know if you guys want to start with like your own personal charts, but like I will say, Natalie, like for you, this is also major, and this past Pluto journey has been interesting for you, I'm sure, because your Saturn is in Capricorn.
It's been pretty damaging, I think. Maybe.
Yeah, I would say so. If it wasn't, you've been doing it wrong. Natalie. Yeah. Congratulations. It should be hell.
It was terrible for a while.
I'm like, when is that for me?
You survived. And your North Node is in Aquarius.
Yeah.
Ooh. So that's like really exciting too, because there's a sense of like his, and also your rising is in Cancer. So like, and your midheaven, your legacy is in Aquarius. So like, even though you don't have any like planets specifically, like any of the personal planets, like really involved in the cardinal energies, I guess your Mars, but like actually your angles, like your graduating class, like your angles are all cardinal. So for you, as Pluto was moving through Capricorn since 2008, you've basically been getting like major opposition. Like you've had to like prove who you are, to show who you are, like throughout a lot of things that you probably were like, okay, and I did not expect that though, ha ha ha. And like
that wasn't fun. Okay, we're not doing that
wait,
anymore. Yeah.
I thought I was a real healer of people. Maybe I actually want to burn down the house, ha 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 ha. Yeah. Like you had to like, you had to really journey. Oh yeah, like, and but okay, now you've made it through. And now it's almost like Pluto in Aquarius is like moving, like helping you kind of like push out the old so that you can be like, and now here's what I've learned, and really bring people into the work that you've or the knowledge that you've accumulated over this past transit, where you're like, I get it now, like this is the assignment, and I actually have some thoughts.
Oh, I love that. I'm so excited about it.
Hell yeah.
What is the assignment, Natalie?
I don't know. Well, it hasn't moved yet. As of yet,
we'll get into it.
Right.
By Jessica's birthday, you will know.
I will know.
Like, bitch, what's the assignment?
Even if you don't know, you might want to start like noticing like what. And for you, that North Node is in the 7th house, so it's kind of like relationships and partnerships and contracts, even like lovers, friends, clients. Like there's gonna be sort of. That's where there's going to be information for you to be like, oh, wait, this is coming up in the area of relationships. Like, and then you guys can like, there can be a no normal, group coaching program, and it can serve you both. And like, literally you can work this Aquarius energy, in tandem.
I think the time, did you put in PM for 8:26 PM?
Oh no, maybe I fucked it up. Hold on.
Well, you
Am
called
I
me
doing
Cancer
backwards?
rising
Cut
and
the
it
whole thing.
gave me
Cut the whole
anxiety.
thing.
No.
Oh yeah, I did. Oh fuck. Oh my god, I'm glad you
It gave
checked
me
me.
anxiety.
Okay.
I was like,
Oh my god.
Though.
Good thing I started there. Okay, cut that. But actually, everything I said, but opposite,
I
which is
probably won't cut
actually,
yeah.
which is okay. Well, yeah, cut it. A long pause. You can make it easy with that. Let's fix that. Oh my god, I'm so glad you stopped me. You know, I've done whole readings. I think I've said this to you guys before, but like, I've done like literally people have paid for like relationship readings where I'm like, oh my god, this is meant to be. But then like I forget, like it's like my chart and the guy's chart, and then I'm like, oh. And then I'm like, what is the ethical responsibility here? Like, do I need to, do they just not know? And whatever I said resonated and it's like fine? Or like, do I have to be like, I'm really sorry, but I think I was just I think I was just hitting on your husband for the last hour and 45 minutes. But I do think he and I may be soulmates. So like, not sure, but.
Could I get his number or just
literally when you don't work out astrologically, here's what I'm thinking for but okay, actually, yeah, so total opposite of what I said, but same vibe, where it's like, yeah, Pluto in your it's actually been like even more so, it hasn't been opposing your sense of like who you are, it's basically been breaking down your sense of who you are, like
been a lot
totally
of people
fucking with your entire who you thought you were.
Yeah.
Was wrong or not wrong. It was just the wrong in another era, in another life, maybe it would have been right, but
not
this is not that era.
Yeah.
But now it is. But now you know.
Which
and you had to find
explains
out.
like
expensive brunette
the big
era.
career change and
yeah,
I would say like the big marriage change, right?
Oh my god, it was a huge, like so many identity shifts. Like I was a redneck in January 2008.
You're kidding.
And I was dating a redneck, so like you just kind of take on like aspects of their personality.
Wow. Yeah, I know about that.
You used to be a blonde.
I was blonde. I was married to
brunette.
somebody with a trust fund after redneck. Yeah.
Okay. Side note though, that is so Pluto in Capricorn. Those are, I don't know if you guys have been following the murder trials.
Yes.
Oh,
dude.
No, it has taken my life by storm. Again, why didn't nobody hear from me? No, first of all, that sounds like what you're describing.
I have chills.
But like watching the whole thing play out right before this Pluto ingress is so fucking satisfying, because it's like, oh yeah, that's what happens when the money system and the law and the legal system and the money system and all of these power systems are like in bed together. And actually it's no different, and you know, this has been the United States Pluto return. It's no different than like liberty and justice for all except for a couple of different kind of people. It's like the power structures and the faces of power and the leadership is all getting just basically chest bumped, as even like, do you die for like Sam Bankman fraud? I mean, the writings on the wall, people, like the bank, and what started in 2008, the collapse of the banking system, and the collapse of the housing market, and the collapse of you know, freaking cars and like airplanes and
everything.
Everything. It was like Occupy Wall Street. It was like the mortgage crisis. Everybody had faulty liens on their homes. Everybody went into foreclosure. Everybody was poor. Madoff actually was low key, just like literally throwing your money around to like literally just like doing what was it, like energy exercise? We're like, he was
just
literally just like throwing around.
You make that energy orb,
yeah. It was energy orbing. It was just like, you know. And I think, you know, in this weird way, like recognizing that like sort of everything has been with our current system a Ponzi scheme, because ultimately there's only so much money, and like it's not look at this dog. It's not like a natural resource that we can like grow more of or plant more of or whatever. No, it's this thing that we're actually like either hoarding or reaching for, or you know, and it's man-made, and it's liberty and justice for all except some. And we started this whole conversation in Pluto and Capricorn talking about like value and money and worth and wealth. And oh my god, Kevin Bacon had all of his money with like shop Bacon, like Nepo baby, sure, but not a rich one. All the money was with the Madoffs. So that's you crazy. Know, I think, and my whole Pluto and Capricorn story is like, it's a money story by far. And you know, that's what I'm saying too. It's so interesting that we're kind of coming out of this phase going, oh, I didn't even know what I didn't know before. And the idea that I had of like what, like who I was gonna be when I grew up
So true.
was like,
wrong.
LOL. Give
so
me a
wrong.
full list of possibilities at least. Like,
LOL.
like, trust me, I don't know what my bio is because like this didn't exist as a. This wasn't one of the options. Like,
you didn't test, and then this came up. Like, no,
right?
the test I
Well,
took,
right.
it said I should
I
be.
think it said I would be a good teacher.
Yeah.
I got teacher too.
You know, okay, we're the teachers. All right, I'm with that. But like, so yeah, I think that's really what this whole like phase has been about. Like, if everybody wants to just like sort of like everybody again, like take a little puff, have a little edible, even just some water, and just like journal on like if almost like if you were gonna write the like just the picture book highlights from like 2008 to now. Don't like overthink it. I mean, some people really want to like go back and like look through the photos and like pinpoint the moments if you're that type. Okay.
Who are those people?
God forbid you
go for it.
Like, even kept all of your external hard drives. Kudos to you if you have. I have no idea. Mine are swimming in the ocean somewhere, I'm sure. But like, it's really just like if you were going to do it from memory, like starting in 2008, like draw a stick figure. Like this was Sarah in 2008, and she thought blah, 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 blah. And then like what are just like the big milestones that over this period you or even, you know, think of it like in terms of like what like giant waves were you hit by and how did you recover? What giant waves did you surf? And now like what is mirroring that 2008 phase, that, you know, the early 2008 2009 phase, and how has that story evolved? And there's a lot of, I think, I don't think you should run and hide on your birthday, Jessica. I think it's actually like really fucking exciting. It's like, oh my God, it's almost like you made it through the like you made it through.
I wrote here to my highlight reel. I got my journal.
Yes.
Well, yeah, and you should actually do a highlight reel because if anything, they are actually powerfully communicative, specifically.
I like that.
I believe in love now, so thank you for your highlight reel.
I hope that starts to trend. Let's do like Pluto highlight reel, Pluto and Cap highlight reels. Like
actually a great idea.
Like, oh, that is a great fucking idea. Write that down.
Okay, North Node in Aquarius. Thank you. That's the kind of North Node in Aquarius thinking that we want to be looking towards. Now, what is your work? What is the assignment, Annalie? The assignment is Pluto in Capricorn highlight reels first and foremost. We'll start there.
Yes,
we still have fog lights on. We're looking through the dark. We don't need to know what's ahead. We need to see the road ahead. And that idea, genius.
Yeah, she is a genius.
I started 2008 with, you know, dating a redneck, and then now I'm a lesbian and I have a child from a sperm donor. Like, what is life?
She won Pluto and Capricorn. She won it.
Yeah, 2008 Natalie could never.
Honestly, if anything, we have to like hashtag Murdaugh, because I hope that Buster Murdaugh hears you and is like, okay,
it's okay to be
like
gay.
He's gay.
He's gay.
Be gay.
I'm not trying to out somebody. I know that we like now wait for people to let us know, but he killed his. Sam Smith was mentioned. Buster was mentioned 40 times in the Sam Smith investigation. It's like they were just special math friends. It's like, oh God.
Okay. Yeah, special math friends whose daddy's a lawyer.
Yeah, and I'm sure, and it seems like Buster really like he would take the extra effort to learn about math. Like,
yeah, from the only gay kid in town.
I don't think he didn't care about math. So anyway, Buster, if you're listening, we look forward to seeing you in Provincetown.
Wait, so Fire Island.
Come on up, baby. Yeah, that's right. It's gonna be okay.
Oh my God.
But yeah, that really is like the whole thing with the Murdaughs. The reason to me it's so fascinating is because there's no justice when justice is like a cute word when power is unbalanced. And I mean, again, you're a Pluto in Libra, that's part of your work too, like actually going like, hey, fuck imbalance. Like if things don't have equity or equality or checks and balances built in, it's sort of like, I mean, it might have been one of the things that even turned you off in the first place while you were in your corporate world, and that sent you into yoga, because you were just like, wow, something about this feels so like something is not right. Like Madame, what is it? Madame Clavel in Madeline. Something is not right.
For me, it was when I saw my VP, who was like this badass woman who had worked at like KeyBank and done all this stuff, running down the hallway in heels, late for something. And I was like, at like 7 o'clock at night. And I was just like, I don't fucking want any of this shit. Like that, you get a corner office. She doesn't eat lunch. She's running down the hallway in heels. I was like, this does not look like fun for me.
And in fact, like until in a world where a man, a corporate man is expected to wear heels and run to his thing too, then I do not want to see a single heel in the office.
Right. Normalize men wearing heels.
Until all men need a little lift in their leg. I don't want to hear about it.
It makes your calves look nice. I mean, normalize.
I know.
Men can wear heels.
But now I have bunions. I'm old.
I don't know the last time I wore a heel.
Oh,
To be
no.
honest.
I live in Colorado.
Once for like a naughty photo shoot once, and I wore them for like 4 seconds. Remember me this way, like
I call them taxi. Taxi shoes. This is like before Uber. When we go out and have to call a taxi and wait 20 minutes in the cold. But I would have these shoes in San Francisco that were fucking adorable, but I could not walk in them. I could not take the bus in them. I had to take a taxi to and from the destination. I needed to sit several hours so that my feet wouldn't fall off. And then the drinks would hit and I'd be fine. But I don't do that anymore. I love
reading my mind.
We're not numbing with alcohol anymore.
We're not numbing. And we're also not like how funny that like what a handicap to like think like in girls like it's the same like my whole life was like going out heels and like going out tops and like I mean but it's like
generation
like literally but that's like then I'm carrying those like weird they're not weird but like those like essentially like pedicure slippers like in my purse in my fanny pack when I'm out because I'll never forget one time
foldable shoes. Heck yeah,
that's what I'm saying. That's the only thing you can bring with you. Because like you can't bring like working women's sneakers with you because you're not bringing a huge bag just to leave somewhere at a nightclub when you're wasted. So it's like what can I put into my coat pockets? Oh, these foldable. And then you're like walking around. I was walking around Boston in these like foldy shoes, like just pissed ass drunk. I remember one time in college, and I went to. So I remember one time in college, my girlfriend who's from Manhattan, very chic, like always looked her best, still does, but she wore heels out and her heel broke. Ooh. And I remember being like, all right, we gotta this is it for us. We gotta go home. And she was like, fuck no. And we stayed out all night and she just like hobbled on one heel and it became this like huge like hero's journey. Like she was known for it. It was like, oh, that's Haley. That's the girl that hobbled that gypsy nightclub that time. Like she's the fucking hero. She's the fucking power nightclub girl. And she was like, oh my God, So yeah, we were just putting ourselves through in general, even as a culture, like we've been like really revisiting the structures that were put in place when our forefathers started this whole business of the USA. Mm-hmm. And now we're kind of we're moving into sort of the like employee revolt era.
Normalize being able to run away.
I need to ask you this because I just saw this meme, which is my memes are my news these days, you guys. I'm sorry, but and I was like, I hadn't had time to research this, but I feel like it's true. That
disclaimer,
totally classic.
Feels true.
Feels true. It's truthy. Guys made women wear heels, and dresses with no pockets, heels so that they couldn't run away.
Can't run away.
And no pockets in the dresses because we couldn't hide things like weapons or spells. And I'm just like, it hit me. I'm like,
you don't keep your spells in your pockets.
This is why women are so excited about fucking pockets in dresses.
Spells,
somewhere to put our freaking spells,
right? It's for potions.
Like it's out of proportion. It's out of proportion because we have pockets, we have purses. I mean, it's not, but it's like there's something about
chapstick pockets. We don't have real pockets
in your dresses. And so there's some truth to that.
I'm actually going to. That's the other thing I do now. I have a fabulous podcast, Space Trash Podcast, where actually my co-host is the culture editor of Newsweek magazine. So the news is legit. We've got a bunch of murder episodes, but
oh my God,
we will give you real news, and I will fact check that with Molly Mulshine.
Please do. Hi, Molly.
Check her out. Hi, Mom. But I think that as an accidental psychic who knew you were going to go to a spa on your birthday, I'll say that I feel like that is 100% true. And
thank you.
Confirmed, it's true because I say so. But actually, it makes it's like wow. And like, wouldn't you know, guys, Jessica, who now knows what you were up to that whole time, also can recall a woman sprinting at 7 p.m. to her meeting in the heels. So it's like, even your bullshit power like game, they didn't fucking work. Fine, I won't tuck my spell into my pocket. I'm gonna tuck it into my pussy, you motherfucker. Like, give me a break. Like
put it in my prison purse.
You can do all that you want to try to slow us down and keep us away from our chapstick and spells, but actually life finds a way. Like, we're gonna run in the heels. We're gonna stay out even if we break our heels. And honestly, no problem in terms of pockets. We're just going to remember every single thing that you say until the end of time and keep every screenshot. So
right. Sky Daddy gave us a pocket that is forever. So
100%.
Also, you are psychic. You predicted me having a baby like before I had even like told anybody I was pregnant on the last podcast. Yeah, Jess looked at me and was like, oh,
because you were like, That's
you're
right.
birthing someone, like you're like a baby is you're birthing something. And I was like, I was like 12 weeks pregnant. Like I hadn't told anybody.
Yay.
Yeah, it was
Wait,
hilarious. Yeah.
See, the
oh
stars
my,
don't lie.
No, you're
wait,
totally psychic. Welcome.
that makes me so it's funny too, because as I was getting ready for this, I was like, should I listen to what I said last year? So it's like a follow-up episode. And then I was like, no, I'm not gonna. Like, I'm just not going to. But oh my God, that it's like, wow, that makes me
Go
so
you.
happy to hear. Not only
Yeah.
that I was right, but also that you're a mom.
And that you were right. Yeah.
Wonderful. And a baby with 2 moms, you're doing the work. Way to evolve. Much better.
you.
Much
Yeah.
better.
Thank you.
I love it.
New way of doing things. Hell yeah.
Take that structure and just crumble it, please.
Oh, it's gone. There is none.
Yeah, North Node Aquarius, like literally it's have it your way energy.
Oh, I love that.
I'm loving it.
I'm loving it.
Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
Mm-hmm.
We're moving into breakfast all day with Aquarius.
Yeah. Now
Oh,
you're
yeah.
talking. Now that's revolutionary.
That
Now
is
that's
Viva la
revolutionary.
Revolucion.
Please bring that back, please.
In.
Okay, so we talked a lot about
We
Pluto,
did.
Pluto.
Aquarius. So these eclipses, let's circle back to these like Aries, Libra eclipses, axes. What placements are these going to affect the most?
So with the eclipses this year, what I find really interesting is that usually with eclipses, there's like a clear eclipse cycle that is unique in it of itself, right? So like, you know, the Cancer Capricorn eclipses, like the year ahead, all of the eclipses were in Cancer and Capricorn, and then the nodes shifted, as did the ecliptic. This year is a little interesting because it's a mix. So this is sort of like, I almost feel like this whole year is like a it's almost like a braid of the future and the past. So this year the eclipses are there are still eclipses left. There are 2 eclipses left in the Taurus Scorpio axis. And then we're beginning our eclipse cycle in the North Node in Aries, South Node in Libra axis. And these are they're not like chronological. So like on April 20th, we have an Aries eclipse, even though the node is still in Taurus. On May 5th, we have a Scorpio eclipse. Then we have an eclipse in Libra. Then we have an eclipse in Taurus. So that's in October, eclipse in Libra, eclipse in Taurus. So what's interesting is like, it's not like, okay, and now the era is over of North Node in Taurus, South Node in Scorpio. It's actually like, while we still are talking about, we're talking about that, the Taurus Scorpio axis is like about power and resources and resourcefulness. It's, you know, all of the polarities, all of the zodiacal polarities, I think, contain elements of the me versus the we. Mostly, of course, what we're entering into Libra and Aries, but with Taurus and Scorpio, you know, Taurus is like merged power, merged resources, merged finances. Taurus is like my finances, my resources. I also think that it's interesting because when we're not talking about the interpersonal, like the specifically if we're like if we're going to zoom out with it, as Pluto and Aquarius would have us do. The other thing that Taurus and Scorpio can sort of represent is life and death. So I think Taurus is pointing in the sign of health and earth and rich natural beauty and basics and, you know, sort of resources, money being resources, and money ruling Taurus in the 2nd house is only what it is since we invented money. But resources and resourcefulness and natural resources and health and all, you know, that is not something that was invented by man, and it wasn't something that so we're kind of like allowing life to continue to new life to continue to lead us in the direction. And Scorpio, aside from merging finances, it also is death. So it's also like letting old power systems, old resource structures, old banking systems, old the corrupt underbelly of the
5-day work week. Dead.
Yes,
Dead.
100%.
Yeah.
Right. And like, so even though the nodes will still be in Taurus and Scorpio, like this, we have an eclipse coming up on 420. And that's that is, you know, the North Node will still be in Taurus, but but the eclipse is in Aries. And so it's sort of like, okay, this is a new beginning, in a fated new beginning in the sign of Aries, but we're being pulled by Taurus. So it's sort of like, I think it's really exciting because it's not just like, okay, all Aries, all go time, which aside from like me time, it's also like wartime and like, like sort of mindless battle. And like, it's like the wailing of a baby who's just like, what the fuck am I doing here?
It's
like
anarchy.
It is. It can totally be. So like, I think it's kind of awesome that we're having this Aries, you know, and it's interesting too, because on Tuesday, everybody come to the Moon. The link will work.
Yeah, this is coming out like in a week.
Okay,
yeah,
well,
maybe
so
don't
come to anyone anytime. By then we'll have new structures. Pluto, who cares? But but it's like yeah, like this next, the right before your birthday, this next new moon that we're coming up against is at 0 degrees.
Yeah.
Aries on, and it's not always on
an equinox.
That's fucking tight. I love that shit.
It's new beginnings.
It's so new beginnings, but it's not without reverence for what we've learned. And it's not without reverence for the because it's like this whole conversation of like old versus new is sort of like, again, it's like good luck with your healing, everybody. Not that you shouldn't hire us all, but like it's you know, it's not a one-stop shop. There's no like, and now I'm healed. It's like, you know, it's a practice. Like yoga is a practice. Meditations, even if you meditated all of 2018, it doesn't mean you meditate. Like, so that's like something I've had to remind myself as well. I'm not beyond this conversation, but it's like, if we're being real, you know, and there are, I think, remembering that as we go to sort of reset our, and it's interesting too, I think whereas a lot of new moons carry the energy of like, what do I want to create this moon cycle? And there's sort of there's such a fine line when it comes to like manifesting and the creation process, that like, yeah, it's totally important to get like super specific and feel, again, Abraham, feel into the, you know, now I've fucked it up and like, am I doing Greta? Am I doing Esther? But like, it's like feel into the, you know, into the contrast or into the clarity of the vision of exactly what you want. And it's like, yeah, totally feel into the vision of exactly what you want, and know that like we're always being limited by some, speaking of women in heels in the office, like some glass ceiling, some wall, especially while Pluto has been in Capricorn, of like, there has been this sort of like, but is it realistic? But is it realistic? Or is it like, that's not the way things work, you know? And so what I think is cool here is that we have like the North Node still bringing our energy. And actually, I believe Venus will still be in Taurus at that time. Venus just moved into Taurus. Mercury just moved into Aries. So we're kind of getting the hints of it already, but it's sort of like this new moon is really cool because it's giving us, it's less about like, I decide that now this is what it's going to be. It's more like, oh, I actually get it now. It's more of like
something's clicking in.
Yes. And there's, you know, usually with Aries energy, it is very like masculine, penetrative, like, but because the nodes are still, we're still focusing in the direction of Taurus, it's like, I think bridging this sort of me versus we conversation in a way where it's like, oh, like if I were responsible for leading in whatever way I am supposed to, or embodying my meanness, whatever that means in your chart, or just in your soul, in your journal, in your vision board, but
in your highlight
in
reel.
a way where that isn't actually like a battle. It's more like information that like, it's almost like we're getting like crowned or like knighted by, you know, for still being here. I survived COVID, and the you know, I survived COVID, I survived, you know, all of this, you know, and I survived Pluto in Capricorn, and all I have is this stupid new awareness. And
that's a merch, Sarah.
Merch. I love merch. I love merch.
I know you do.
Merch. Yes, write it down. Hold on. Yeah, we'll remember. I'll listen back to the pod. Not this time next year, but right after it comes out. but yeah, so it's like, but that's what it is. It's like I survived, and now I see myself differently. And because the North Node is still in Taurus with Venus, soon to be with Jupiter, and the energy of Saturn now has moved into Pisces, which means Saturn in Pisces is the only one that's a little bit different than the other. I mean, they're all a little bit different, but it's like Saturn in Pisces, you know, it is endings. And it is like, whereas, you know, Saturn has been in these extremely cold, and Saturn's been at home for the last 7 years because Saturn was in Capricorn first, then it was in Aquarius. They're both ruled by Saturn. So Saturn, even though it was like, these were very like hardcore Saturn, and that's why like the literal markets crash, and like literally Kobe died, like Kobe died, and then all the men across the land are weeping. What a fucking breakthrough, actually. But like, I love that. I loved that. I thought, I was like, the men need a few more tragic deaths just to kind of get all these emotion out. Like, we have a shot of everybody. If we have the entire ESPN weeping together, like, we are actually,
the world will be a better place.
Okay, yeah, like cry, boys, cry. But yeah, it's actually Matthew Land to care. So but yeah, like, I think, yeah, that's why this is sort of an exciting year ahead, because it's not just like leadership for my sake or leadership for leadership's sake. It's leadership for it's almost like leadership, how do I want to phrase it, like leadership for not even like our sake, that's like corny, and I don't want to give us too much like altruistic, like we're not that, but it's more like leadership that has been like you now get to receive the gift of what you get to lead, rather than being like, I'm gonna fight through this brush, or I'm gonna fight these freaking zombies for my family, or no, like you actually found out about what it is that you have been fighting for. And I think there's going to be a sort of a gift that in this lunar new year that we're going to see play out really from now until like 2025, where it's like the fire energy. And this whole year, if we're talking about the transits of the year ahead, like what are the big transits this year? I mean, I think that aside from this Pluto moving into Aquarius, putting the toe in the water, then I'm gonna like come back towards the end of the year and be like, all right, now that I saw the future a little bit, let me just like, because like that's the thing. It's like, why does it need to come back? Right. We're gonna find out a little about the future, and then we're gonna go, oh, this is the link I should be using for the Moonual. I just didn't know what the future was going to hold until now I know. And now I can, while it's back in Capricorn, just
reverse engineer.
Right, reverse engineer now what I know and finish up because we still need Capricorn's not dead. Scorpio's not dead. I mean, Scorpio is specifically dead, but like in a presently dead way, in a Casper way. Like, you know, he's kissing Christina. Dude's definitely a Scorpio. But it's like that's the thing. It's like that's why the planets need to kind of dance with that's why we move with the planets and we track the planets, because we don't know what social media manager was not a job when we were in like high school or college. And then we all were like, I think I actually do want to be that new thing. And then we all had to find out we didn't want to be social media managers, the job that we didn't think existed. You know what I mean? We were victims because we couldn't even be social media managers if we tried. Like now the market is not even for us, it's for all of these and then we're like, okay, I got a social media, and it's like, I don't fucking want this fucking job. Like
I don't want this. This sucks. This kind of sucks.
This is horrible. This is life's work.
And now everybody's getting off social media.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. You know, and that's funny because even for me, like I've had a lot, as I'm a Capricorn moon and Capricorn Mars, and my North Node is in Aries, and my sun is in Cancer. So like I've been feeling this. But I think for me, like one thing that Capricorn energy, when it is not being, you know, exposed and debilitated by like Inspector Pluto being like, is it true you are for all the people? And it's like, no, bitch, you're freaking not. And we're gonna have a bank collapse. We're gonna don't trust your leaders, like lol. But one thing that Capricorn energy does, not in a bad way, I like to tell myself, but does care about, like, is status and is visibility in the world. And I have been not even beating myself up, that's like almost too strong of a, but it's like I've been like just so disappointed, like, man, Sarah, like you fucking failed the assignment of being like famous, and like you don't have all the followers. Like you were so popular.
Oh my god! And the
you
Kardashians,
were class president all those years, right?
Not invited to the Met. Like
I
love it.
No, you have. I just want to say this is not even to plug my podcast. You're gonna love my podcast, Natalie.
I'm
like
excited.
it's all celeb gossip, but
I
through
love
the
it.
lens of astrology. And Molly really knows her shit because she's like in the biz.
She's in it.
No, do you love the? Well, and not even love. I want to say I actually like the Kardashians, and I
They're
like
people. Yeah.
I respect what they stand for. Like
Right.
like for good or bad, you know, it's like same things. Like I don't like no, like do I think George Washington was like actually a catch? Definitely not. But like, okay, like even if it was like the Murdaws, thank you for being thank you for evolving into our learning, our teaching tool, Alec.
Yeah.
He is serving his purpose, even if, you know, karma's a bitch. 2 lifetimes, he has 2 lifetimes left of incarceration. He had 2 lifetimes from the last lifetime. That's why he's doing all this. The karmic cycle isn't just within our lifetimes. It's actually, that's why these outer planet ingresses are so interesting, because they're talking about karma. And so when Saturn moves into Pisces, and it just did at the beginning of March, it's basically like Saturn has been in all of these like I'm home, and we're like basically have our checklist out, and we're like checking all the systems, and we're like making sure the Murdaws go down. We're not going to have another generation of gay bashing Murdaws. At least let this next Murdaugh be a gay corrupt lawyer, if anything.
Please.
Like, please. Like if you're come on, don't fucking kill his boyfriend, you fucking assholes. Like, no money in the world would make it worth not letting your son be gay. Like, fuck that, right? So like, you deserve it. Like, sorry, you know, but anyway, not you deserve it. I guess I don't want to be like Zoom gods. Like, I'm being cute, but like, you know, he'll come back. It lives life and death is a cycle. But anyway, the point is that when Saturn moves into Pisces, it's and we're feeling it already. It's a drastic change, because what happens when anything is in Pisces, things dissolve. And not only can things dissolve in a like endings way, it also can dissolve in a, like you said, was it that you got married in March, Jessica, of 2000?
Engaged.
Yeah. Okay, but so like that's a dissolving of like, first of all, ever having to wear heels again. But no, that's you did it. You're in. Your legs have passed the test.
Sweatpants
Somebody
for
will
life.
marry you. Yeah. But like that's like when Saturn moves into Pisces, all of the restrictions and the boundaries and the rules do start to dissolve.
Nobody's wearing jeans at home anymore.
Are you kidding me? What do you mean? What are jeans?
What is denim?
Literally,
that's Saturn in Pisces.
No, I've actually been like, no, I've literally been like journaling on jokes for my big return to the stage of like because like all I'm going to, it's not even like, unless I like go shopping for this, which like puts some pressure on it that I do not need, then like I'm gonna need to make a case for athleisure wear as weekend stage. Like somebody paid to see me in my athletic wear. Thank you for the Kardashians for that. Thank you so much for making sweats the vibe.
Yes.
The elite. I look so casual. I must be a billionaire. Like that's like what that's the vibe this year.
All you
like
have to do is match your sweat outfit, and it's chic.
It's done.
All I wear is black. All I wear is black. I'm just a hack. All I wear is black. That's like, that's gonna be great. We're gonna wear black. We're gonna wear black swimsuit, and we're gonna talk about how jeans are a thing of the past. Why restrict our bodies, and why like so that's like even the fact that we're in these in between times, it goes for Saturn too, which is like, you know, again, when Saturn moves then into Aries like 3 years from now, and then Pluto is officially into Aquarius, it will be a little bit more like, okay, like
Viva la Revolucion.
Viva la, like and I don't want to even say like wartime vibes, because I don't know if that has like a really hopeful, you know, connotation, but I will say that's where it's like, okay, like the artillery, like locked and loaded. Yes. Just for a Murdaugh reference, like locked and loaded, like this, let's just shoot him right now. And it might be messy and it might be whatever, but it's like, that's the vibe. And it might be that's the Aries energy. Aries energy is just like, blah, 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 well, I have to just like break out of this like uterus or placenta or whatever, you know, fog. It's like the light it's birth. It's like, oh my God, this uterus too confining, give me life. And then you get out in life and you're like, what the fuck?
What is this?
And so that will be the end. We'll all be a little bit like, you know, volatile like a newborn baby, but also we'll know that we are not in the placenta anymore. But right now we're kind of in this weird phase where it's like, it's like, it's sort of, we're between worlds. We're between worlds. We're between spaces. And so the big astrology, well, does that make sense? Did I not finish any thought before I tell you about the other big transits of the year?
No, that's very Saturn and
Okay.
Pisces. I feel that's Murdaugh's Kardashians, no jeans in the house. Check.
Right. Jeans.
That's
What are
our-
jeans?
that's
What are
our
jeans other than
title.
I'm Sarah Jean? You mean my middle name? Lol. Like, I don't even know what jean. Yeah, jeans are done.
We don't know her.
Yeah, that's
don't know her.
ridiculous. Yeah, I mean, and in a way, what we should do if we really maybe this seed planters. Where are my designers out there talking about merch? What we should do is pre-invent jeans.
Yeah.
Everything
new
comes back
jeans.
around.
Everything does come back around.
Like once jeans are fully out of the like picture and everything at like Saks is just like athleisure wear, like in different. Then we're gonna be like, yo,
have you heard of denim?
Denim.
Denim.
What the fuck is the Gen Zers are like pants? I'm waist up. Like,
conceptually, pants just aren't the vibe.
I don't even know what you mean.
I could just see Gen Z and be like, they're like stiff and like hard, you guys.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, literally, like, but then it's like, oh, it's kind of interesting. Like, I feel like it's like we're gonna be able to sell like denim as like the way that like the Kardashians are selling waist shapers. It'll be like it will hold you in all night.
It will.
Snatched. Like instead of just pouring out over the top of your elastic,
snatched. People
hold it
are
all in.
things to snatch me, and I'm like, do I want to be snatched though? I kind of like hanging out.
Yeah, I don't know. I think if I happen to become snatched again, I might make it seem like it was on purpose. But yeah, I think my snatch days are.
Those are behind.
I'm free. I'm fucking free out here.
Mine died with Kobe. Yeah.
Mine died. Yeah. Kobe was the end of denim for all of us. Very literally. We should all just be wearing basketball wear.
We should be.
And we should all, Natalie, this would be great. We'll all just look like lesbians.
I'm gonna write it down. I think we all.
I was just walking around in my mesh.
The audacity to not be appealing to the male gaze. Oh, that is so Pluto and Aquarius.
You know what though? It's already started happening. Why are we not having eyebrows on the runway? What's no eyebrows? The whole trend has been like, actually, like it's not about looking pretty. It's like,
no, yeah,
okay, like,
I love it.
It's really like, yeah, anti-male gaze is. And you know what? The other thing that there's, speaking of which, like the opportunity for while Saturn is in Aquarius, while Saturn is in Pisces, and while we're kind of getting ready for like getting our armor together to build the future, is that there'll be sort of like what I would imagine is like an artist revolution during the Saturn in Pisces phase, where the boundaries and the structures actually haven't supported innovative creative, haven't supported the psychics, haven't supported the healers, haven't supported like the actual like in order for really new ideas, whatever that even means, to be considered, or new artists to emerge or whatever, there does have to be a death of the old ways of connecting with each other, the old ways of paying for things, the old like the reason that we love all the artists that we love are because they're owned by the companies that are paying to put them in our ears. So, not to say that Rihanna's not great, and I love her, and I give her so much credit. Also, and well, she's an Aries rising, Aries,
of course,
moon, Pisces, but Aries rising, Aries moon. She is the female billionaire from Barbados, the most decorated, blah blah blah. But at the end of the day, she was like discovered by. Like, she was discovered by what I don't remember what the company is, but like one of the big ones, Geffen or whatever, one of the company. No, Jay-Z, Rockefeller.
Yeah.
She was discovered by Jay-Z's guy who was on his yearly scouting trip to the Bahamas looking for the next Bahamian, you know what I mean? So it's sort of like, yes, good for her, but also like, baby, this is what you came for. Like literally that she was teed up for this. That was what she was going to be. And I think what's cool when Saturn moves into Pisces is that it's like nothing is what it was supposed to be. Everything now is changing and dissolving, and there's the opportunity. I mean, even just thinking back to the last time that Saturn was in Pisces, even just in terms of business, Amazon was invented. When Saturn was in Pisces. I believe
Jeff. Wow.
Oh, very good for Jeff. But what an interesting concept, right? Like this idea that like he actually could just be a marketplace for everything was like revolutionary. And it actually did make, for better or worse, like we can talk about the environment later, I guess. While the North Node is still in Taurus, I guess we should consider the boxes. But either way, it actually is it did provide a huge amount of jobs to people, and it did become this completely revolutionary marketplace that changed the conversation in actual brick and mortar retail forevermore. Who knows what could come out of this phase when we go like, okay, I know it doesn't like seem to make sense, or like I know that it doesn't,
not right now, but
right, not right now, but like I'm just sort of having this feeling that, and I think one of the cool things too about the eclipses not necessarily happening in sign is that I think sometimes when we go to do that Aries like leadership thing, it can feel really like, and Jessica, you have to confirm, but like, at least for me, especially North Node and Aries, I'm like, I just want to stay home with whoever my boyfriend is. But like, it's like North Node in Aries and Aries in general is the energy of like, this could be the start of something big. Like, I am just packing my bags and I'm getting on the bus and I'm going to New York City or whatever. But like, really, it can feel very lonely. It can feel very like
you're an island.
Like you're an island, and like you're crazy, or like, you are, it can be sort of like, it can feel warlike, where it's like, I'm fighting for this new beginning. What I think is kind of exciting about the North Node being in Taurus still when we start our eclipse season of this year is that right now, the next Amazon, consider the environment. It's not just this new thing. I worked at so many restaurants, and the amount of food that is thrown out is like,
sickening.
Even if you go to the airport and you look at the stuff that they're lifting off of people in the security line, it's just these like bins and bins and bins of products. And it kills me. And it's like, so I think what this is a kind of interesting opportunity for is that like, there will be some fresh ideas, new beginnings, new starts, but we are going to come now with the integrated sort of compassion and knowledge and, what we've been through, the United States in particular, out of sign eclipses, out of states listeners. Sorry, this is
but like, anyway, good for you also.
Yeah, good for you. You're leading us into the future. But I will say, like, this has been the first ever United States Pluto return. We all hear about the Saturn returns because they're common every 30 years. There's Saturn return. Every, you have a nodal return every 19 years. There's a nodal return. But to have a Pluto return in the United States is like fucking wild. Nobody on Earth has lived through a Pluto return of their actual home ever. It's too long of a transit. And most places, like the fact that we're, as Americans, like in this sort of sweet spot of being alive right now during the first Pluto return of, it's also interesting. I mean, if you think about what the last Pluto in Aquarius transits really brought, it was like
the French Revolution.
The American Revolution, the French Revolution, the American, like technically we still have a monarchy, but like even that, like with the Queen dying, and now we're like really talking about Aaron. We read Spare, join the Patreon, sparetrash.com, back to us Patreon. We do a book club for Spare, like, but the fact that we're like now just, I mean, you talk about the Kardashians are no different than the Mountbatten Windsors. It's all they're just celebrities that we're paying them to live in nice places for us to talk shit about, like. That's it. That's what it is. They have no power other than that. They're like, we must let them write about us, Ari. Like, it's like, so that we can keep all the properties. It's like, dudes, like hilarious to be like, the people need to know that Kate didn't share the lip gloss for the power. So it's like, what's interesting is, I think we're going to, I think it'll be interesting to see what happens with the actual literal monarchy. But I think, the United States was established when Pluto was in Capricorn, but actually the first the first decades of the United States and the French Revolution, it really actually is a power of the people, because what the United States actually was when it was trying to be sort of earnest and sincere and maybe just like had sort of some like,
it was revolutionary.
We didn't know about like empathy at that time, but like but like actually like they were in the American revolutionaries' mind, like, they were breaking free of the monarchies rule. You will not like, we're not like colonialists. We will actually start our own fucking colonies.
Yeah, thank you, but no.
Thank you next, UK. Like, we actually now know that like we will stand alone as the colonies, and so it'll just be interesting to see. I think that whereas a normal Aries North Node or Aries ingress, or anytime we're in Aries season where it's like it's go time, is really exciting, but also can be sort of fraught with like chaos. I think what's cool about this, right? Like, I think this Aries season is kind of exciting though, because it's more like, oh shit, like what do the North Node with Venus in Taurus, it's kind of like, oh shit, like what do I have? What are the resources that I have that would make it possible for me to do whatever my version of fight the monarchy or rebel against the system, or, and it doesn't need to necessarily be in a violent way or in a like a hugely high risk way. It can just be in a like a sincerely innovative way, because you know what your powers are, you know what you actually have the ability to lead in the area of. We all have it one way or the other. I mean, even for you, like, since, okay, so your chart natally, like Aries in your 4th house, like your IC in Aries. But now it just flipped. No, that's right.
No, that's correct.
No, that's correct. Okay, thank God. Okay, thank God.
That's Placidus, right? Yeah.
Placidus. Yeah. I mean, but Placidus, but so it's like actually like, and your Mars, it's like what you're doing is actually like reinventing home. Like, you're like, okay, now I get it. Like, I actually do need to lead in setting new foundations in like how we do family, how we do home, how we do like raising people, how we do like our inner work. Like, so you don't need to like necessarily go lead the zombie camp apocalypse into the future. You can stay home and do it, and you can just lead by doing what you're doing. And you know what I mean? It's like wherever Aries is in your chart. And I think it's interesting too, that has been square this Pluto and Capricorn this whole time. So you basically had to like let go of this idea of like everything about what would have been impressive to become.
Yes.
So that you could actually become what you're meant to become, which will be way more impressive than
maybe
what you like
mediocre.
thought.
But I'd love it.
Like, but if before you were aiming for just like one of the cogs in the machine, mediocre sounds great. Like, let's reframe our ideas of,
mediocrity
and status, and like, you know what I mean? So I don't know. I think it's really exciting. And so a couple other big transits for this year that we all want to keep in mind, especially you, Natalie. I don't know why I said it like okay, because it's Revolucion. That's why, because it's Revolution every times. And Saturn in Pisces, we don't even know how to pronounce things anymore. Revolution. So what's happening right after Jessica's birthday ingress is that Mars, after a hilariously extended period of time in Gemini. So usually 7 months, it's insane. So Mars moves through a sign. Usually it takes like maybe a month, 6 weeks, 2 months, like max, if there's a retrograde. This past year, Mars moved into Gemini in August.
Yeah.
It got to 25 degrees Gemini in like on Halloween, like October. And then it went retrograde to 8 degrees Gemini until January 12th. And then it went direct through the shadow of what it learned. And what is Mars? Our vitality, our fight, our spirit, what drives us, what wakes us up in the morning, what we want to fuck, how we want to fuck, what we want to get into, what we care about like doing with ourselves. In Gemini in general, sometimes Mars in Gemini can be a little bit like distractible, hard to focus, like almost like too much energy. But
my daughter. Oh my God.
Is she Mars in Gemini? Yep.
Yeah, retrograde.
Like, I love a little bit. Yeah. Oh my God. Okay, but how interesting. How I love that for her, actually, because that's retrograde planets in the natal chart. Or I mean, I say that I'm biased. My whole chart retrograde, but like I love retrograde energies in the natal chart, because I actually think that they denote the like permission to do things differently.
Yeah. You've done it once, do it different this time.
Right. Like it on a karmic level, like you've been here before. This is now your retro. It's like, oh,
it's my redo. I can do this. Yeah. My comeback.
100%. And like, Mars in Gemini, in general is like very frenetic, very, very wild. But then it went retrograde, and it was like, even though we were still kind of like distracted, we were still kind of like feeling sort of like the anxiety of like Mars and Gemini, like, what do we want to do? So many things. But then our energy was like cut into like a third of what it would be. So then we also got the inner anxiety of like, wow, so many things to do. And like, I actually overslept and like so many things to do. But now I'm finding that like, I don't even want to do any of them. And like, I have no motivation or like, so that was, it was almost like, Gemini ruled by Mercury. It was almost like a Mars, like a Mercury retrograde, like on steroids. It's actually like, oh, everything about my thinking, my communicating, Gemini, my partnerships, the words I'm using, all of it is like, wait, that, like, that's why I couldn't get into the freaking Moonwheel, Jessica. We were still in shadow phase. It was like, Sarah, how do people access the, like, what are the words you're using to explain? What is my bio? Maybe we'll find out in the podcast. But finally, like, late last week, Mars moved out of the shadow phase. So it finally moved to the next degree. So we are still in the Mars and Gemini conversation, but it's like, but something has changed. Actually, there's been an evolution. And again, Mars likes to move fast and like be kind of like in and out and like, because I have so many things to do. Yeah, I gotta hit my quota. I gotta like get here and there and talk to this person, that person. I think this was really also frustrating because Mars has been moving like so slow. So we can actually feel that we're like, okay, we're like actually in a different, yes. I don't have any club soda. You got to go get club soda. You think I'm hoarding the club soda? I just drank them. But I'm on a podcast right now, so you can take the dog. Romy probably has to poop.
I'm not going out. Oh, come on, Romy. I just got back from doing it. Who are you talking to?
I'm on a podcast.
This is why we don't edit. This is so good.
What did you say?
Did you turn it off?
No, I didn't turn it off. I'm telling you to go upstairs. I'm on the podcast.
I love that we're talking about Mars, Mercury, communication.
Do you die? Do you die?
I died.
And I'm like, and finally a whole new, and it's like, oh, a whole new Mars energy. Oh, well, and I'm a Gemini rising. My mother's a Gemini moon. So it all really just deeply tracks.
Oh,
but
did you drink all her club soda?
I can't believe.
First of all, aren't we out of, it's not my club. Even though that's what I'm trying to say. Even though we're moving into Aries territory, it's our club soda. Let's have enough resources that we can just get more club soda when the home needs more club soda. Like, who's keeping the checks and balance? She thinks I'm hoarding the club soda. Let's trust each other. If there's not any in the kitchen, there's not any club soda.
It's poetic.
And in some weird way, probably also, again, like Mars is still a little bit like, how are we going to do things? Like, what a passive aggressive way to say, like, can you go to the market?
Yeah. Right. Why can't you just say
I'm gonna have to go get club soda after this, clearly. Now I know that she is in need and I can support her by going to the supermarket. But okay, so all this to say that we are like now in a different place, so much so that my mother is now on the podcast. My Gemini moon mother, and I'm a Gemini rising, is now on the podcast. She is doing kinesthetic learning. We're doing act outs of this is the inside out of astrology.
Yeah.
So, but on March 26th, Mars is going to move finally into Cancer. So Mars usually doesn't like to be in Cancer, but I do think that because it's just been like in Gemini, like so it's like, it's why we also might miss jeans a little bit. It's like I didn't like being in jeans better, but like I've now been in sweats for years. I don't even know where my leg ends and the sweat begins. Like so Mars, but it's kind of cool too, because Mars, when it moves into Cancer, the reason Mars doesn't like being in Cancer generally is because it's like underwater, it's kind of slow. Instead of, how does a crab move? Instead of moving forward, it has to go sideways. And but I think in a way, and again, that's sort of the whole vibe this year, because of what we've like learned over this past since Kobe died. We'll just call it that. It's really the Great Conjunction, but we'll just call it the Great Plane Crash. Really, when all the men cried, the earth shook and everything started to change. Yeah. And then we all went home, and then we threw out our jeans. Right. And no, we really got rid. There was always that old like paradigm, like that mind fuckery of like, I'm just keeping these jeans because someday these jeans are gonna fit again. And it's like, may we all release our skinny jeans. We don't
Yes.
even do jeans anymore. We'll find out what size we are when we come back to it. But like,
Yeah.
I don't need to feel bad about my skinny jeans. I've been sitting inside for 3 years. Like I can
I'm a medium. Yeah, like that's all I need to know.
Right. I'm a farm.
Don't burn books, burn jeans.
Burn jeans.
Boom. Merch. Boom. Merch. Jessica, Aries, lead us. Thank you. But it's like that's the thing though. It's like again, like the lesson can now be applied. Like Mars going retrograde and being slow moving, even when it was direct through Gemini this whole time. It's like actually Mars actually sort of does know how to like move slow now. It's been moving slow, and and now as this movement out of like Pluto out of Capricorn, like Capricorn's a feminine sign ultimately. So there's sort of like a little bit of like breathing room for the feminine. Yeah, this earth and water are all feminine, and air and fire are all masculine, because it's sort of like either the power to like breathe life into or destroy, or the ability to actually like make and grow and nurture. And women are actually like tangible physical beings, whereas like, I mean, even if you think like
men are just concepts.
Like literally kind of like biblically, it's like we don't even know who the dad is. We don't even, the dad's God. The dad's God.
Men are the Matrix.
Like, you know, and so it's like, I think that there's a relief a little bit for the feminine, and sort of an opportunity for us to all show up in our house slippers, back to the office, whatever that is, and sort of rethink the way that we work. Right. Let's do the 4-day, 3-hour work weeks when we can. And like, you know, I think one of the big things, at least for me, that has become very clear that I wouldn't have had the language for at the beginning of my Pluto and Capricorn journey, is that like it has felt true that woman's work, so to speak, you know, and with X's too, this is not just for the natural born woman, but the emotional labor, the work of just knowing that you know more and having to fucking do theater to like manage what you know that you know, but then I have to pretend I don't know, and I have to,
the mental labor,
the mental labor, the emotional labor, the being there for, the holding space for. These are things that have not actually been very easily like introduced to the marketplace as products, as you know. It's been very hard to actually, and that's one of the things I think on my like sort of money journey, I've had to not only feel through, but witness, just witnessing what changes. Like there's still a return to where I started in a good way. I actually love the Four Seasons hotels. Okay. I love them and I miss them. Okay. And it doesn't mean that I am now selling my soul to the devil. If I just think in terms of when I travel, I stay at the hotels that I like and that I grew up staying at. Like I had a big wake up call at a Moonual a couple months ago, where I arrived at like, because I like to do the Moonuals, like it depends. I am sort of nomadic. I've been sort of nomadic in general, but again, it wasn't my choice. It was a Pluto and Capricorn, like, oh, surprise, like you don't have a home now, like figure it out for a couple hours. Cool. So, and as a Cancer Capricorn, it's like, what do you mean no? I am. But then it's like, oh yeah, you are home, people. There's no real estate charge. I'm just like, everyone's squatting in my emotional space, and it's like, oh, everything's everything. But like, yeah, coming to the realization of like, oh, at this time, this is the way it was. And then I went through this whole journey, and even up until very recently, it's like, now it's too bad I'm just like poor but righteous. And it's like, all right, but like also maybe in a world where actually everything is changing, and based on the cosmic mirror that you have access to, you know, there's a world where, you know, actually, because that's what if I like track my personal complaints, and like since we spoke, Jessica, what I would say is like so I went from like, I'm charging everybody a lot of money, and then I got hired because that's how it works when you like decide. But then I resented all of them. Why do they think they can hit me up all the time? Why do they fucking think that, you know? And it's like, you gave me this much, but you're really rich. You don't even donate to the Moonuals. You don't even leave a review of the Space Trash podcast. You don't even fucking join the Patreon for $5. You can't support me. I'm livid. And then I'm like, okay, I hate money because there's never enough, and it's totally dangerous and blah blah blah. So, you know, I've been through the whole And what I hear myself saying to people in my complaints or in my, when I was still drinking, I don't have one heel on, but I definitely have like one victim personality that shows up sometimes. And, what I would say is like, well, that's just the way it is. Like there is no financial, there is no business of women's work. And, I've been defending my choice to like still be accessible to my parents. And thank God I didn't have a day job. When my aunt had her catastrophic accident, I went and cared for her. Like I'm some martyr for my family. I'm a Cancer Capricorn. It's also on a chart, but it's like, and also I'm unemployed other than like when you guys pay me to do stuff. Like, so it's not like, but thank God I don't have a job because women's work, and oh yes, I'll emergency step in and go to the wedding for you, but you had better remember me in your will. Like as if I'm only good for the people who I'm serving for free to assume they'll take care of me. Like in the afterlife, I mean, I'm not even sure what I was what I was getting at is just actually saying like, I don't feel taken care of. And
I'm doing all the taken care of.
Yeah. And it's really actually like,
and the care I get is a trade-off.
Right. And it's not something that I can actually, and it is interesting, Jessica, when we've had our first session and then never again to be part, but like, I think you said something like that to me, like, it's not about like, you're like, you don't really need money. Like you have had money in other lifetimes, you have healer currency, you'll always be like taken care of. But like, if you actually want to feel grounded, you might just like want to have some, like, so that you can actually be more of a clear vessel for actually the work you do, which is, I actually don't resent that I'm a support animal for others. It's a gift. I haven't had a day job since 2012. Thank God. I've never really gone corporate in that way. So, and in fact, maybe I actually can be supported for that work. And it doesn't mean that now I owe someone extra because they're doing me a favor. It's actually, it's me respecting the work that I do. And it's me knowing that the Four Seasons wasn't just some haphazard result of, being raised by a guy who just had good timing when he joined the stock market boom in the 80s and just like fucking cashed out. It's like, no, it's okay to shop at Whole Foods, and it's okay to want to stay at the Four. And in fact, it's okay to stay at the Four Seasons because of money that I've been paid. Not because I'm exploiting anybody or because, I mean, I do think it will be interesting to see what happens with money moving forward. But all of this rant to say, I hope that was resonant to some. Otherwise, thank you so much for the free therapy, you guys. But I guess my larger point is that when Mars now finally at the end of this month moves into Cancer, my feeling will be that we're going to start to have much more reverence for quote unquote women's work and the women's way of working. Maybe Mars, I was actually thinking about this the other day. I was like very stoned. So I was like, maybe you're just like procrastinating. But I was sort of thinking about how, yes, the masculine and feminine modalities are what they are, receptive and physical versus, sort of inspiring and spiritual and sort of not present. And, occult or whatever. But I was also thinking like, well, but also every sign does have sort of like a masculine and feminine expression. Like Jessica, you're all Aries, but Aries Aquarius, like you're a very masculine chart. And God damn it, you're a spirit baby medium. I mean, what's more feminine than that, motherfucker? Like, whoa.
Well, somebody said they're like, oh, based on your chart, you might have been a man in a past life. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. Here's the thing though. I have this very weird like empathy for the men. I'm like, we have women's circles, we have moonuals, although guys come to the moonuals, but like we have all this shit we have for women. And like, I think that is why we've been able to progress, because talking to like Libras and partnerships and stuff, I meet so many clients and they're like, well, I'm here, but my husband doesn't believe in this, or they're not into this kind of stuff.
Work.
Yeah, they're like, oh,
and it's actually a good thing, because they would actually they would throw up their hands and be like, this is dumb. And so it's like, let's just
let me tell you how to run this.
And then go right. Let's pretend you're right, and then just go into our circles and do witchcraft.
I want men to have a version of that. And like some of the stuff I've seen where they like cry and like bump chest or whatever, I'm like, I don't know how I feel about that, and like yell, whatever.
Tom Brady, watch out.
Like, like I think like that is something that I would be willing to build.
Okay, just take away that what we're saying? Yeah, no pockets for men moving forward. The pocket is the uterus. Shoot away.
God,
you can't have stuff in the vagina. That's it.
I'll hold your phone, honey. I'll hold your phone.
I'll hold your phone and make sure I have the password in case you get too drunk. Yeah, that'll get us all pretty up to date on who's texting who. But first of all, I love that idea. Second of all, isn't that kind of what I was saying to you too at the beginning, that like you actually do care about like equality and balance between the masculine and the feminine. And I actually want to say, I'm really glad. I know look, I'm out here doing woman's work. Okay. Like I am all pussy, but I am and someone's like, it's not my programming and I can be such a male apologist, and I do feel for men, and I can't even, I have so much shame that I can't get the Chris Rock song out of my head. I want to die. I'm so mad at myself. You can't listen to him. He's a bad man. And yet the dance going around in the reels, it's in my head now. And I don't hate him. I don't hate Alec Murdaugh. I actually think in a way, Maggie was like, I don't know if she wanted to actually be there for the aftermath of what was about to be revealed. Actually, she
checked out. Yeah, she was like, no thanks.
I think she was really happy with what she created, and I think we do the astrology of the entire family on the Patreon because it's sort of scandalous. People, you want to disrespect the dead, but check out spacetrash.com /space trash podcast, because anyway, all this to say that our ideas of right and wrong are ever changing. And I have been such a male apologist, not because like it's right to do that, or not because like the woman's work is fine, I will bear this weight and work the system, but it's more just because like, you know, if we actually want to be in like harmony, if we want to be in good relationships with each other, it really isn't about, you know, it's not really about tipping the scales. I think there's a lot of energy like and you're right that like the women's circles and all these women's things have been part of the women's suffrage movement. Thank you guys. Like, but how interesting, right? That it's like the women, the last of the, you know, the, I guess, second wave feminists all band together to like demand the right to vote. And now here we are. And it's like 90% of white women voted for Trump, and then the other women that are on earth didn't vote, or you know what I mean? It's like, oh man. And now we're like, who needs to vote? But I don't believe in this system. It's like, that's why it's okay that we're not social media managers too. And thank you for fighting for our right to vote. Whatever voting is in the future, we're gonna re-vote in jeans if we ever vote again. You know, so it's like, I just feel like I agree with you that like having compassion, because even the men that are alive today, all of them are relatively young in the grand scheme of Earth and humans. And we are, I mean, I think what's cool about astrology is that it does show, you can kind of look at a chart and go like past life vibes, or, you know, there's this ever evolving cycle that you continue to be a part of. And, you know, everything just wraps back around. And so the people that raised the men are other people who were hurt and damaged, like our generation really is like the first of the well, not even our generation, like basically I think like Pluto in Libra actually would be the begin, like the Gen what's it Gen X, the Gen Xers were like, that's like the Gen Xers are like the big sisters of La Revolucion. The Pluto in Scorpio, like the millennials are basically like the like executioners, and
this is fucked,
and like we embrace death, and like, you know, Dia de los Muertos parties everywhere, and you know, like it is why, I mean, it's interesting, Jessica, I would love to know your thought on this. Like I was listening to something similar to your post about like the tyranny of pocketless living, you know, from before the days of Yorn. I also think it's kind of interesting thinking in terms of the Pluto in Scorpio generation. I was reading that somewhere, maybe it was I don't know what it was, but it was saying, I think it was a reel or something, but wow, I guess the marketing, everybody needs to make reels. Jessica, more love reels. But it's like the Pluto and Scorpio generation, like millennials are not having children in record numbers. And I think, or the thing that I was the caption I was reading, whatever, was basically saying that like it's because people that have Pluto in the generation that has Pluto in Scorpio are aware of the deep corruption of Earth. And so for people that have Pluto in Scorpio, like we're now coming into the age where like our clocks should be super ticking, which they may or may not be. I'm still like not sure, the universe will guide me, but there's this part of me that is shocked as a Cancer Capricorn. No, when I was sure that by 30, I would like not only have like a couple of HBO comedy specials out there and like a show or a movie, but I would be married with kids. Of course I was going to be a mom.
Right.
There was no question in my mind. But as I aged, I found myself almost staying in toxic relationships, trying to run the clock. And so that I didn't even have to choose not to, because it was the kind of painful thing about not. But then I had to really come to terms. It's why I did my call with you in the first place, because I was like, am I just addicted to drugs and just trying to not get like,
or
am
do I
just
just
trying to
really
stay
not like
fucked up? Yeah, like am I just like too addicted to see that I'm ruined, like I'm wasting my time? Or like, because Pluto and Scorpio really is about exposing the dark underbelly. Pluto in Libra is about like exposing any kind of relationship inequality that is actually keeping us apart. And then we get together and then we're like, oh shit, like
look
now
at all
we're
this
together,
stuff.
like, yeah, like, whoa, like you have a sleep apnea machine, like you didn't say that in your dating profile.
You
like,
fucking
oh,
like,
oh, like you have like dead and like, oh, your whole family, all the adult men have committed suicide. Like, oh, like, okay, like, well, okay, I guess I work with that now, you know. So, and then like the Gen Y, who are the younger than us, the Gen Y, who are the people that are on TikTok?
Z. Isn't it
Gen Z?
Yeah.
X, whatever it is. The TikTokers, they're the Pluto and Sagittarius generation. So they're kind of like, fuck your corruption and fuck your past. Like, we're just fucking burning this shit to the ground. Like, we're the gurus. You guys can do all your hard work of like teaching us shit, but like we're just gonna like literally put information online and do dances and like literally like make TikToks where we're like, hey, for real, you don't know this, but they're the king. There are the conspiracy theory generation, because they're like, cute idea about like the truth, but the Pluto in Scorpio generation, that was like our big stars, were basically like just exposing the fact that like nothing that we think is what it is.
Yeah.
And so we see the TikTok generation like, you know, sort of moving us into this realm of like, you know, it's not just like fake news or like half truths or like good journalism. It's actually like fuck the gurus and like fuck the people that everyone follow. That's why it will be interesting to see what happens with like politics in this country and with leadership in this country and with, you know, with even the corporations that we, I mean, again, the Murdoch case is such a micro for the macro of what's being exposed, which is that actually we have allowed business is government. That's it.
That's it. There's no separation.
It is.
No, none. And there's no justice, and there's no actual business development available, and there's no actual revolution available if we are all still agreeing that, like, that's the thing, like, I'm not that afraid of making money anymore, partially because I also am aware that, first of all, I know how to steal from Marshalls, but also because I had to find that out, but also because I'm not afraid of what happens. I used to be so afraid of making money again and then having to manage the money and then being smart about managing the money, and like then your work, the more money you make, then the more stressed you are, because actually the real work is in managing the money and keeping the money for generations to come. And it's like, first of all, like I'm not afraid to lose money anymore, because now I've lost it and I know that I'm okay without it. But also, let's be real, for the first time maybe ever, especially what also started in 2008, Bitcoin. Money is now literally worth, like, genuinely worth nothing. It used to be an exchange. It's a concept. The only reason that money is powerful is because we're all like, yes, money.
We all agree that it's powerful.
We all agree. We all, yes, money. Yes, money. And boys and girls bathrooms should be separate. And all of the conversations are, you know, are actually ever changing. There's Geminis, no, there's always another perspective. There's always another way the story could go. There's always more to find out. There's always like an other side. And so, you know, we really are in these in-between times. And so Mars is going to move into Cancer, and we're all going to be like, wait a second, maybe sleeping in is part of my business structure.
I'm gonna pencil that one in, yeah.
maybe
that's just how I work.
That's just right. I mean, even I will say this, like I work in super off hours, partially because my life has been well, South Node and Libra, like I also am like probably a little bit codependent, and I also like lots of everything. But it's like a lot of my life really is about responding to other people in need, or I like, whether it's a boyfriend or my parents or whatever, I live with people, and Gemini rising, like I can be distracted, or I can be, so for me, like I would kind of rather, so long as my life looks the way it does now, and I'm open to it changing, but I have had to actually work out my own business structure where, like, actually my like primo, if you've ever gotten an email from me, either I'm lying about who I am and I put it into the CRM system that I am preloading the email for 8 a.m. to look like I like waking up at a normal time, but I'm sending it between 11 p.m. and 4 a.m. because it's the only time everything's quiet.
Yeah.
It's the only time I ever have to myself. It's the only time I don't have to feel bad. Like, even though I'm on Do Not Disturb, somehow the messages still come through. I'm not sure if anybody knows how to hijack that fucking, can I actually turn the messages off? I'm not sure. But
Voxer. I'm telling you, Voxer.
yeah,
Voxer.
I literally think that actually is the move. But it's like, yeah, so I think there's like a really interesting new beginning in the area of, breaking, like, even my mom, she'll be on my case. Like, now, not only did I steal all the seltzer, but she'll be like, the way that you live is not healthy. And it's
drinking
like
all that club soda.
Yeah, first of all, it's not healthy for you to assume that your daughter would be, you might want to check out, because everything's mirrors. What are you stealing from us, Myra? Like, you think I'm hiding the
Club soda's
seltzers
just
from the
painted.
family kitchen? It's ridiculous. But it wouldn't even be cold. I mean, it's like, she literally was like, she was wandering down here, like, and I'm like, what are you looking for? And she's like, the seltzer. It's like in my bedroom, like in the basement, my little basement apartment. Like, what you mean? Okay. So anyway,
It's a little accusatory.
but like, it's like, I don't, it might be true that the doctors have shown that if you wake up at 5 a.m. and then work out like you're a Kardashian before you do anything, and then you send all of your emails in that primo focus time, like, yeah, you know what? That might be fucking healthy. That's what's up. But also, who the fuck cares?
Do I
Like,
want to do that? Yeah.
if it's like, why would we force ourselves into heels or schedules, or and you know what, perhaps someday, now that I'm into money again and I live permanently I have a residence at the Four Seasons, maybe I will just want to wake up with sunrise because of my floor to ceiling windows, and maybe that will be the change that actually makes me a healthy person in my mother's eyes. But I gotta tell you, I don't feel unhealthy when I'm up at night and I sleep, even if I'm in my happiest of happy places, when I'm in like South Florida or anywhere by the beach, the sun is too hot before 2. What do you need to wake up for to go to the beach? Like, I want to miss half the day so that I can catch up to all we got to get on Voxer. But like, I am waiting for the night when everybody goes to bed, because I don't have focus issues. I have sort of, I think, and this is a big Gemini thing that we've all been working out, and we can now redo when Mars moves into Cancer. But it's like, I have issues about what I think the expectations are, my relationship to others. And that's what that South Node in Libra transit, North Node in Aries, the next eclipses over the next 3 years are really going to be helping us release, God willing, is like this idea that like, we're not in relationships because there's any sort of like role that we are like I'm not like beholden to anybody or anything, or any gender role or any commitment or anything. What I'm beholden to is like what's true, and from a place of North Node in Aries authenticity, and with Taurus still in, like, with North Node still in Taurus and Venus in Taurus and Jupiter about to move into Taurus, with abundance for all. So it's not just about my abundance, it's about my contribution to creating more abundance. We got an abundance of sounds coming from here. We got Romy has a cough right now. Lol. Probably just ate something off the floor, which is like, I'm sorry, but Romy drank.
Romy took the clothes off.
Romy, obviously it was Romy. She came downstairs with the whole case in her mouth. But anyway, so that's really like the vibe of this year. It's like really rethinking work and rethinking like what is allowed for you. And
she agrees.
She's like, isn't she amazing? Yeah, she's speaking Italian. It sounds like coughing. Actually, that's the Italian way of saying yeah. I'm saying it. I'm saying yes. What did you eat? A piece of plastic or something? That's good. It's good dog. But even this is such a good, like I'm talking about like I'm responsible for caretaking. It's like, well, yeah, Romy's got to walk soon. Romy's letting me know that she ate something off the floor, is now dying, and her owners are gonna pick her up. So I better at least get her to poop first. But anyway, all this to say that like the way that you are being called to move in the direction of your dreams, if there's any ideas that are coming up where you're like, yeah, but like I don't have the money for that, or like, yeah, but that's not how it has been, check in with yourself. Maybe there's just been changes that have been brewing under the surface where you can actually just like do these like slight reframes. Everyone attention seeking here. Everyone attention seeking. You'd be shocked at you wouldn't be shocked at how many Zooms my mother is actually a part of.
I love it.
Oh, you're on a Zoom? Oh, you're on a Zoom. Yeah.
Cameo.
On a Zoom. Anyway, the last thing that's worth noting is just that that Venus is going to have a big retrograde this year in Leo.
I know,
Pluto's now in Aquarius, and so the Venus in Leo, I believe Venus will move into Leo in like, it's a summer thing, so it'll be like June, and then like it'll go retrograde in August, and then move back through. I mean, retrograde in July, and then forward again in August. And so, what I think is interesting about that Venus, like that all that Venus action, while we also have this first brush of Pluto in Aquarius, is sort of like, I think what's going to come up as we sort of again start to like shave our legs for the first time, or like, you know, restructure our thinking about the future and sort of seeing what the future may hold. But then as we move backwards, the big question I think of the summer is like, where have I been? How do I put it? Like, where have I been like watering down or adjusting my, like the way that I would like express my heart, or the expectations of love that I have for myself? Or, you know, we're gonna notice where, and during that retrograde period, I think we're gonna notice where we're like, okay, wait a second, like I don't want bangs because I'm having a nervous breakdown, but like I actually might look good with bangs. And I've been afraid because of all the memes that say if you have bangs, it means that everybody knows you're having a nervous breakdown. But it might be actually that you look good with bangs. And because of the memes, thank you, Pluto and Aquarius. Because of the memes, I see that now from TikTok, I can buy a clip-in and just try it out. I can try it out first. And that's the thing. During retrograde, don't make any of those big changes. But yeah, try it out. Try it out. Really. I mean, we can sort of play with it, but like even
it's a look. It's a look.
It's not bad. No. It's definitely like, I mean, in lieu of Botox, I will be getting bangs, but you know, I think that's the thing. Like, that's the thing. Maybe this is the look. Look, Jessica, not only are we actually, first of all, Jessica, I actually sort of love.
Whoa. I do like myself a thing.
Sort of love. And it comes with the hand on top.
Right. Yes.
Yes. That's the look. That's the look. Yeah, and I think this is sort of interesting too, kind of mysterious, kind of whipsy, like wisps, like it's like, are they bangs or is she like coming from the brush? Like what's going on with her hair like that? But so I think that's the thing, like Venus in Leo, before it goes retrograde, is going to kind of give us this glimpse of like, the heart wants what it wants, or like I have always wanted to be on Broadway, or if I'm really expressing my truest heart, like I've been saying that my love language is this because it just seems more doable, but actually this is the way I express and receive love, and I want to fucking do it loud and proud, and I fucking, you know, and then it's going to go retrograde, and we're going to kind of be checking in with ourselves, like, well, what parts of you have been like just too afraid to get bangs, or too afraid to say I love you, or too afraid to say, okay, I do want like a boyfriend, or too afraid to you know, take up that, you know, Leo Aquarius, and we're going to be working with this axis now for the next 40 years. You know, Aquarius really is like the collective. It's like the stage that the Leo is on. So we all we all have the Leo energy. That's why I think it's like so fucking awesome that like, okay, yeah, I didn't like, am I still a comedian? I don't know. I just took down my website instead of quitting. I just not on a website. So you don't know whether I've been doing comedy or not.
Yeah.
And so I haven't said I'm quit comedy. I don't quit comedy. I just don't do it anymore. Cause I don't do anything. I don't even wear jeans.
Yeah.
So, you know, but it's like funny because now like Pluto will move into Aquarius. I will rent, like, I am booked on 2 shows with a friend.
Love it.
That weekend. And like my Mercury is in Leo. And right now, also, we have Black Moon Lilith traveling through Leo, kind of giving us like sort of laying the foundation before Venus gets to Leo, because I sort of think a little bit of like Lilith. If Lilith is Lilith, Black Moon Lilith, and maybe like if we think of, just hypothetically, if we think of Venus as like Eve, I think there's a feminine healing available when we have the Lilith and the Venusian energy and the Lilith energy. If they can actually reunite and become one again, will we see a Spice Girls tour reunion? I fucking hope so. Do become one though, like for real. And we actually just might, like low-key, we just might. And I will go. Fingers are crossed. I love thinking of Victoria Beckham being like, you want me to what? You want me to show up and pretend to sing again? Like, it's like she's like she's doing stuff. She's like at home, like just being not on stage. Like I would like, we gotta look at her chart. I can't believe she was ever like performing. Like, what was she doing ever performing? But anyway, I think right now we have this Lilith in Leo energy. So maybe if there's any like rage bubbling up or sexuality that's like sort of where you're horny about some shit, or I am getting on stage with nothing prepared. Jessica said, but I had permission to. So Jessica and Rodney Dangerfield gave me full permission to literally not prepare. So like I will, as a preparation, I will not prepare.
Yes.
That's very, and I'm Lilith rising, so it's very me. But I think that's the thing where we have Lilith is now here at the beginning of this Pluto ingress, kind of being that force of like, okay, yeah, definitely like Viva la Revolucion. But like, I don't know. I hope that the Les Mis of our lifetime just has more rich, like Eponine dying is a little bit like, she's the only like kind of like tenacious feminine character in the whole freaking thing, you know, like may we actually have room for the divine feminine that isn't necessarily just like a damsel in distress or like a baby maker or like an innkeeper, or not that we and or even if those are the roles, they don't need to be totally Eve and just like part of your rib babe. Like actually it can be, you know, part of this larger, we're all world connected. And you know, we all have a shadow side, and we all have a light bright side, and we all have a Venus that we like really know how to work with and use to like attract and get what we want, and then we all have a Lilith that we're like, okay, that's the truth. But like if you were to act on that rage, or if you were to just fuck the two guys this weekend, or even if you were just to express yourself like fully, without fear that you would then be rejected instantly and then tried to be forgotten about, although unforgettable, it's like sort of, I think there's a return to balance for the feminine, like before we actually have, and again, healing, such a cute word, but I think before we enter you know, before we actually have like, it's hard to even, I don't even want to say like, I can't even say equality, or because it's like I don't even think we know what that means. Like I guess that's what I'm saying. It's like we do have to have space and compassion for the men, because we you know, they didn't have any like you can be whatever you want to be classes in the 5th grade. We were overcompensating for those classes, but then in those classes it wasn't like, you can rebel against the system and be like a comedian, life coach, astrologer whose mom is joining you on the Zooms, and then you got to walk the dog because you also live at home in the doggy daycare after the plague, and then Kobe died, you know, and jeans are not even, you even wear jeans, you know. Like, okay, like whoa, like would never have planned for that. What I would have planned for though was like a career in PR, or like I'm gonna go to school for communications, or like like I'm just like I'm a nurturer, I'm a teacher, like I'm, you know. So I think coming together like with our feminine selves, and men have both within them too, and we have masculine sides too, and Jessica's literally a walking sperm. That actually explains everything. But it's like I feel like I think there's a real healing. I think this summer transit and what's being the foundation that's being laid for it now is like, what are like your heart's desires, even if you're afraid to say them out loud, because it would be like, just, you're still like not ready to like come out with the fact that you want to say the 4 seasons too, or that, you know, that Jessica's real got you thinking about love or whatever. It's like, just notice what you're actually like turned on by or interested by or fucking pissed about. And then when Venus moves into Leo, again, these are traditionally masculine signs, but let me tell you, while Pluto has been in Capricorn, as a Cancer Capricorn, like the women have been doing some freaking deep like overhauling of, you know, and so I think there's a little bit of a relief on, even though Saturn, but these transits that move slower aren't as they just move, we get over them. Pluto for the next 40 years in Aquarius is basically like spirit daddy. Either spirit daddy will reveal himself and this will all be like one big Mari and then it will change the game forever, or we're going to be able to like work with the collective, the spirit, the things we can't see, the larger, broader humanitarian landscape from a really more like from a more authentic Leo place, which if I think we use this, beginning the astrological new year with, like Lilith is in Leo. What does Aries become? Aries, the fire energy becomes Leo because it graduates into like, okay, I know how to work with this like spark of light, the spark of fire. And then it becomes Leo, becomes that campfire. And then it's like, everybody, there's a campfire. And then it becomes that Sagittarius, that place where it's like actually like, like unavoidable, like group gatherings and success and like this sort of imminent growth, because that Leo energy actually was so fun and enticing and shined that light in a way that did warm people. And then it caught fire, we hope not literally, although we have to remember that the wildfires in California are actually necessary.
A real
so like,
problem.
let's watch the media, let's watch the memes. The fires are okay. Just don't live in the line of fire unless you have good insurance. But anyway, that's sort of the vibe. Like, I think there really is like this like feminine healing, but like not like, it's funny too, is we're talking about like male gaze or not, it's like not feminine healing for like the male gaze, but it is feminine healing, I think, with the masculine support. So it's like still hot without eyebrows.
Apparently.
What we find out is like, well, actually now the male gaze has just changed and we expect you to look like a potato and you're still fucking. That's what we really just need to find out, that it had nothing to do with our faces or bodies. Like they're just literally trying to fuck.
Yeah. Surprise.
But you know what? Lilith and Leo, we might be too, but also that just might, but we might be, but also it might look different than, who knows. I'm not telling you all to just open your legs. I'm just saying that like you're allowed to just like want something to be what it is too. And so long as you're authentic about it and lighting your own fire, then it's actually possible that people will come. Don't be afraid to like just make a bonfire party for the, plan on it for the summer. You're gonna have a bonfire party and don't even worry about the guest list or whatever. Just think about like, what's my dream bonfire party? And I think from that place, we might find that in the summer, we're like, oh shit,
the weirdos will
here
come.
it is. This is the party. And it's, and it's not actually like all the things that I thought like, well, like no one's going to come. It's in, I'm trying to think like where, I don't know why I can't think. It's in Vancouver. I don't know why I wanted to say Vancouver so bad. But it's like on the tip of my tongue. But it's like, it's just not where I would think of a bonfire beach party. Right. But like maybe. But like, who the fuck knows? Who the fuck knows? And like, if that's what you're kind of just like vibing, I don't know. If you guys talk to me in fucking late summer and I have like some kind of a sponsorship deal with fucking Four Seasons hotels, like you heard it here first. I would like to stay there for free, not because I have to, but because I'm working with you, Four Seasons.
Yes.
Ding. I would like a luxury hotel experience anytime, anywhere, just because I can, whatever. But like, just don't be afraid to ask for what you want and not know how you're going to get it, because up until this point, we might not have even been able, because of Saturn and these rigid ass signs. You don't even know, and you wouldn't have even been allowed to say it. Now it's like, yeah, chaos, entertain it. Fucking say whatever you want. Anything's possible. We're literally talking about like will Elon be the beginning of the frontier to live on Mars? It's like, okay, lol, like say whatever the fuck you want.
Baby,
who the fuck knows?
I love this for us. All of this. I love all of this for us for this year.
I'm pumped up.
I hope that wasn't too chaotic, but
oh my god, there's a lot of notes. I have a lot of notes.
I took notes.
I would never, could never, but I'm so grateful for AI now that the notes are being taken for me. So like in a way, who knew that I would get my needs met without ever hiring an admin? But now
I wrote that down though. Like, what is my dream bonfire party? I'll be in Australia in August when this is happening. So I'm gonna be with family and then just with dance. I'm thinking like, okay, what do I want that to look like? Because I was kind of nervous I always get fucking nervous with the stars. I'm like, what does that mean? But I like how there's different perspectives on it, and how I'm like, I'm gonna get ahead of that image and that actually and be like, what's my bonfire?
Your natal Lilith is in Leo in your Pisces, in your subconscious house. So you're actually having a Lilith return. This is a perfect time to think about it, because it's really like, and you know what I would, for anybody that has natal Lilith in Leo, the one thing I would say, and I'm not necessarily talking about like social media when I say what I'm about to say, but like what I think a lot of people with Lilith in Leo fail to admit, the ones that do get this thing, but the ones that don't become jealous and, you know, resentful. It's okay to want to be famous.
Even if, you know, being famous means nothing, famosity means nothing. It's okay.
Right.
It's okay to
in the same way, that's what I'm saying too. It's like, and I want to be rich, even if now money doesn't mean anything. It's like, you can, but oh my God, what are you? Okay, we gotta go for a walk. But yeah, like some of the greatest talents, like Marilyn Monroe, Lilith and Leo. I mean, I have a whole list. We did a podcast, we did a space crash about it, but like, it's like, especially because it's in your 12th house, Jess, like, you know, if you were a man in the past life, it's also possible, just based on Lilith and Leo in the 12th house, like drag queen, like before it was allowed, like there's sort of, there's something about performance that you have maybe felt like, I can't really fully like know what I'm longing for, or like what the vision is, but like I know that it's like why you had to go like through the like PR, through yoga, through like seeing animals, through like not being able to like ignore the fact that now everybody you see looks like an avatar before avatars were even a fucking thing.
Yeah.
And you know, but like actually, if you let yourself even now like have access to that, like, well, actually, what's the next like animal head on people that I actually am seeing? And maybe it is support groups for men, God forbid, God for fucking bid. But like, you know, you have your dream state actually has you, you know, living out some, and then there might be a fear of like Virgo rising. You're like, no, I couldn't possibly like actually like I'm going to work in PR, like there's a playbook. But there was something that choice was almost, you could even look back to 2008, like there was something that choice was maybe even repressing, where it was like, I'm just going to do something that I know how I'm supposed to look doing it. And as a Virgo rising, I can literally look like whatever would be the right thing to look like.
Yeah.
But you're an early degree Virgo rising. So it's sort of like, you know, when it's funny, we were talking about like, and that's always Pisces season. And I sort of feel like everything's like going to fucking die right before my rebirth. It's like, well, okay, but also there might, the part of you that might actually have like access to that like dying feeling, you know, your whole 7th house is in Pisces, your whole 6th house is in Aquarius. So there's a part of you that like on a daily basis is either leaning into or resisting your 12th house, that the spirit baby house, literally. But you have Lilith up there, not only being like, and you're psychic and you can talk to unborn and aborted fetuses, ha 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 ha. And like there might be something else there though, that actually it's like, and you like actually just like want to be wearing wigs, and like you like maybe you actually have like different colors for sometimes an energy, you know, like you will get like, let me go get, I remember on our call I felt like $1,000,000. You're like, whoa, I need bigger crystals for this powerful energy. And I was like, thank you so much. That I feel so somebody that finally gets the magnitude of my labor, like, yeah, you need a bigger, yeah, I am that big, thank you, mother, yeah, okay. But no web presence, but web presence, you know, like, so but I feel like you know, maybe if instead of crystals it's like it, you know, the vibe that you pick up on, instead of pulling a card or getting crystal, you put on a purple wig, just, and then you go, oh my God, and then, oh no, I need to change my wig for you, you're more of a red wig, or you know, maybe there's just a way to play with visuals or aesthetics that is so far from perfect or normal, or like,
oh, Sarah,
like
you were speaking
corporate.
my language.
I want to see you in wigs, bitch.
Okay, but here's my thing. It's like the Virgo in me is like, what are we doing? Like, who are we trying to be?
Well, you know, funny you should say that. Funny you should say that, Jess, because your midheaven, aka your legacy, is at 0 degrees Gemini.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can hear my mother screaming now. She really wants to be part of the Zoom. 0 degrees Gemini. So this whole Mars and Gemini thing has basically been clearing the way for you to recognize, oh, I'm the new legacy. Who is it? What would be that point? Go fuck around and find out, Jess. Like, you get to be the new all that Aries in the 8th house of your chart. You are actually like working with people to evolve the storyline. Yeah, Virgo rising with a 0 degree midheaven in Gemini. You actually are here to kind of write the new blueprint for what it is that like we're getting ready for work has never looked so different than we thought it looked before. But if anyone were going to do it perfectly and like write the handbook on how, it would be you. Actually, the way, even like, you know, again, I read the memes, I burn the sage, I, you know, sure. But, you know, I don't know really about a lot of stuff. Like, you know, like I love divination tools. Like the reason I like astrology, I think out of all of for me, the spiritual modalities that I've ever like learned or dabbled in, because it sort of just feels like I'm getting a cheat sheet. And it's like, oh, here, I can decide what it says. Right. Whereas like what you do is like way harder, because it's really like working with the, like, you have to like really fucking trust yourself that like what you're saying is gonna make sense. And it's like, I've sent everybody I know to you, and when they come back and tell me the shit you say, I am laughing out loud. I'm laughing out loud, because it's not even shit that you can Google that you're saying to people. It's like, no, you're literally like, no, you're the most legit, like past life or just like alternate universe spirit. But like, so yeah, weird. You just get messages that are like, LOL, she fucking got that right. Like, and it wouldn't be appropriate for all people. Like you say the most specifically like characterish, like just funny shit that no one would ever know. And that I reference with every person you talk to, we reference your call almost every time we talk. I'm not kidding. One call with you, people are like, well, Jessica said, oh, well, Jessica said, okay. What did Sara say? That's why I'm getting pissed. I'm like, I've been telling you. Jessica says it one time, and you're like, well, she doesn't know. It's like, okay. Pay me more to not talk to you as much too. That would actually be a great call, Jess. Wow, learning. But anyway, the bottom line is like, yeah, the tools that we use, that we all are like money. If we find out that crystals are actually like not from the earth and like low key, like it's been like, you know, some secret government, like, I'm not saying that we should have a crystal conspiracy, but like literally who the fuck, we're in space on a fucking planet, like who the fuck knows? Like if there's something that resonates for you that is perhaps silly or you know, something that you just made up, maybe it's actually going to resonate with more people, because nobody fucking knows. You're okay if you tell me that white sage is endangered, I will believe you, but I don't even really know what that means.
If you say it with authority, I'll believe you.
I have no, but actually a purple wig would get me in a mood faster than like, I'm clearing the space with this specially not endangered white sage. It's like, well, like I don't know the fucking difference, but I actually can, as a human, I can actually relate to a color or that's what Saturn in Pisces is reminding us. Like actually, sometimes there isn't like language, sometimes there isn't appropriate, sometimes it's like just the sound or the color or the, you know, the music with or without lyrics can speak so much more clearly. Sometimes you watch a movie that's like full of CGI fucking absolute fantasy shit and it resonates way more than, you know, I watch The Crown and I watch Game of Thrones, and I feel like Game of Thrones actually gives me a lot more information about like colonialism and like the fight for keeping the throne than any sort of 44-minute History Channel doc that I could watch to try to catch up on, like, who is Victoria again? Like, who Henry the what? Like, you know, it's sometimes it is in the non-literal or the more artistic, the fantasy, the artistic,
so
the
many
musical.
Henrys.
So many Henrys, so many wives, so many children, so many. I mean, you know, it's a lot to keep track of.
All related though.
Well, that's why
circular family tree.
What I'm hearing is you have permission to open up my wig box, which I already have, and also buy some new ones, and then start doing some fun things and start wearing all the crazy shit that I want to wear.
Yeah.
Jessica, look, it's not random. Like, not everybody has a wig box.
Not everybody, it's true.
Not everybody. No, and the fact that is like what I'm just being like, you need to put wigs on and act fucking like a drag queen, a spiritual drag queen. Yeah, drag brunch has just got a whole new meaning. It's actually like Jessica's, you know, afternoon calls where she's like, actually, this time it's purple. Like, no, the fact that you even have a wig box is no coincidence. There are no coincidences. Like,
I'm like literally sweating though with fear. Like, I want to do this. I so want to do this, and like other parts of my chart are like,
fuck around and find out.
Same, but also, okay, let's play the game again. I will finally charge $2,222. You do need to tell me how many months the package is if you want to ask my spirit baby answers, because I'm really uncomfortable with money in general. I'm actually fine like literally stealing or using pennies that I'm like grateful to have, because I'm a fucking martyr for all of our pain. Okay. But I now cost like $2,000 a month and more, and you wear wigs that are silly because it's uncomfortable. Yeah, it's
I fucking love that.
And the life coach in me can't help but remind us all, and myself, because I obviously don't follow my own. I meditate in 2019, but it's like if you're not like sweating because of fear, like there's a difference between sweating because of fear because like the planes just flew into the World Trade Center, right. Like that actually was like a really, really scary too. And you know, there's been a lot of scary stuff that's happened, even just like the banks collapsing. It's kind of scary if we really believe in money, and you know, but that's not what that's like primal fear. But when we're talking about like the fear of like stretching and growing, that is like that's exciting. Actually like the right kind of fear. That's the sweet spot. That's the fear. That's the same fear that we feel even when we like meet somebody really fucking hot. You know, it's like actually there's an exciting fear too, where it's like this would be amazing, but like I don't know exactly just what it's gonna look like.
I feel like giddy, like, oh my God, like this is what I've been wanting to do for so long, and this just feels like permission of just like do it. Yeah, like the stars confirm it, like go do this. And
dude, for real, and especially since everybody's getting off social media for the like more or less anyway, everyone is like, I don't necessarily want plastic surgery unless I can go into the doctor and be like, can you get a Disney filter? Can you give me a Disney face? But like, hello everybody. But like I do think like actually playing physically with what the experience of filters gave us, like I found, you know, sometimes like IG Live didn't exist before COVID and I was doing comedy, but actually like putting different filters on, I just had access to a different sort of comedic voice or what, like it just, you don't know what you are going to have permission to say when you don't look exactly like yourself. And I love sometimes it's that surrender of just like the facade, Capricorn, of the ego of what you like think you should look like. Well, it's like when, you know, that's like when I'm in this costume, I can so easily snap into, you know, this role. You hear actors talk about that all the time. Well, the minute I put the suit, the wetsuit on, I just felt like I was Point Break, you know, like it's like, I don't think Swayze, I think Swayze was actually a lot more of a dancer than a surfer. And I think he was, you know, but we believed him. He was Point Break, you know, and like,
okay, my uncle grew up with Patrick Swayze and he was bullied for dance. Bullied.
Oh my God. Yeah. Not that I'm happy to hear that, but satisfies my soul. Yeah, I'm telling you, he was not like that fucking server. He was not Roadhouse. He was actually Dirty Dancing.
He was. Thrive.
Yeah, he fucking was. Actually. Yeah. So, you know, but he could put on that wetsuit. And, you know, Point Blank's one of the best, worst movies of all time. So, Kate, you think Kate Bosworth surfs?
No. Not even a little bit. Doesn't even know how to spell it. Okay.
She doesn't. Literally.
She does not. I'm excited.
Yeah, I think we should all get pumped. Just everybody
get so pumped every time I talk to you.
Put your silly goggles on, and anything that just feels like, oh, I want that, or like that would be fun. Good. Maybe it's actually just like a predictor. Maybe it's just the future, and you should just get behind it. Any part of you that's like, no, but that's not the way it is. It's like, LOL. What is the way that it was before? And either anyway, like, get over what was. It's literally the world's melting.
Yeah, I'll tell that to like hold my beer.
Yeah.
Like, hold my beer.
Literally, hold my beer. I need to get another wig. Hold my beer. I'm switching avatars right before your eyes. Like the fact that you might not even need like astrology to like know what's going on with somebody, like whatever, and that you might not need AI to change avatars. Jessica, like you are an Aries. Like you are. That is a head.
Yeah, it is. You're right. I love it.
Aries, the head.
The head. Not just any head. The head.
The head. Capital T, capital H.
That's right.
Okay,
let's do this.
On that note, let's all digest.
Sorry, it was a lot. Any other questions, comments, thoughts?
It's a big year.
It's a big year, and it's
fuck around and find out year.
It's a fuck around and find out year, and that's like it's a transition. So know that it's like you don't have to like finish by the end. You do have to start by the end.
Yeah. Oh, and you'll have a chance to go back to your apartment at the end of the year and grab your charger
and just get it all the old stuff you forgot. It'll 100%. Be there. 100%.
Yeah, if you forgot it, you're gonna go get it. So just see how it is without it, but then you're gonna get it, and you'll know what you need, and you'll know what you don't. And you'll be like, oh my God, I totally forgot. If there's a tongue scraper sitting underneath some television console, throw it out.
I don't need it. Lived without it this long.
And it's like, again, that might be my own shit. I'm speaking from my own tongue scraper here, but like you know, we have to miss it to find it sometimes.
I love it. Okay, tell everybody where they can find you again.
Yes.
The most important thing to do is to listen to the Space Trash podcast. Subscribe, leave 5-star reviews, even if you don't listen. It's the only way to monetize. And or if you really want to help us, you can not help yourself and us.
Yeah.
You can join the Patreon at patreon.com/Space Trash podcast. And we do every week. We do like the biggest in celebrity news and how it relates to the astrology. So it's really fun, really gossipy. My co-host not only is the culture editor of Newsweek magazine, but she also is a stand-up comedian as well. So it's real funny, and we have a great time. Otherwise, you can find me at Sara Armour on Instagram, as long as it exists, and and you can find out about the Moonual and the moon rituals that I lead still on Zoom, remaining on Zoom, the Zoom Moonuals, every other week, every fortnight. Also, let's take back Fortnite, you know, merch. Let's how is that for SEO? We can use Fortnite. I don't know if it's the people, but you're saying we want to attract the men. I think
that the right audience?
As SEO could be, it will be. Get Jessica there. She's like, finally, welcome. It's for us. But yeah, like I think they're really fun. Yeah, come. They're donation based. So go to the Moonual at on Instagram or Sara Armour on Instagram. And if you guys want readings of your own or to work with me, I am a coach and I'm very, very expensive, but I also have a mid-level offering where I won't be offering you as much, but I am down to talk, but for a price because it is my work.
And it is expensive brunette era.
It's my expensive brunette era, you motherfuckers. But also, I am still a humanitarian martyr and I love to just be with people. So yeah, every fortnight at the Moonual, you can hang out for whatever you can afford or for free. Your presence is the presence. You can find me there and complain for free there anytime.
But do tip her because she needs to buy more club soda.
Obviously.
Literally. And just like pants. Like pants. I literally have to go get club soda. I have to pick up dog shit like to make my way and I don't have pants. So like, yeah, definitely donate, join. And also if you're a healer that wants to sort of like open mic your talents, like the Moonual is a great place for that. You can come and be weird and let your freak flag fly. Maybe Jessica wants to come. Jessica, I don't know if you want to come to the next one, but if you want to, why don't you try your wig readings and see if it works? Tuesday, the Moonual, fucking come put a wig on and see what it is like. The importance of open micing for sorceresses and spiritual healers. I think it's so hard sometimes to be like, I acknowledge my gifts and then like, and I'm charging for them. I think that's kind of what we've been talking about. Like, so I think part of what the Moonual became is sort of like an open mic for sorcerers and healers alike, to come, permission to be bad, but to say the thing that you do and to practice.
I love it. That's so great. That's so fun. Okay, yes. So everybody go follow, find, donate, support, send energetic support also as well. If that's all you got, that's worth something.
That's fine. But it really, 5 stars for the Space Trash podcast. And join the Patreon, patreon.com for that /Space Trash podcast for $5 a month. And I will be well on my way of knowing that because of your support and my just running my mouth about astrology and celebrity goss, I can, in fact, get back to where I came from, the Four Seasons Hotel.
Correct. Oh, yes, full circle. We love that for you. Help Sara get back to the Four Seasons.
Need a little luxury.
Yes. We need mini croissants.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't tell you though, the big thing, the last thing I'll tell you. I had a big wake up call a couple of Moonuals ago because like I want to treat myself and like honor my practice. But I also like, I was doing this like I don't even need money thing. So I found the cheapest hotel that I could find, but that looked like normal and cool. And it was near a Home Goods. So in case I needed to fucking either steal anything or just walk around to get a little exercise, I would have that nearby. And when I got there, one whole facade, like I'll send you a picture. It like one whole side of the hotel was just like ripped off.
Cool.
And so when I drove up, I was like, oh my God, like this Ramada's fucked up. Like literally there was like, you could see into all the rooms. The balconies were like literally like hanging off the, like cute. It was like frightening. And then when I checked in, she's like, okay, like we're just gonna have to walk you up to your room because like we're in this weird transition phase where like the keys don't open the door, so only the master key opens the door. So I'm like, I did the Moonual and then I actually drove home. I didn't actually sleep there. But and I was gonna make a stink about it, but it was only like a $50 hotel room. So I was like, I don't know if I need to fight to get my money back from this nice family owned Ramada. It's my
open air.
Yeah,
All about
open air, open concept hotel and open door hotel. Like, oh, so like someone's just gonna like,
Maybe.
I don't know. It's just weird to be like,
That's exciting.
do I want to go in now? I don't know. I didn't like that. I didn't have a key to my own gadget. If I wanted to go, I had to get Seamless. Or I afforded the privilege of Seamless, but then I had to like, hey, just like picked up my delivery. Like, could you like walk me back up to my room? Like, I was like, I'm done with this. I need nice hotels. Like, this is like, I can't like. I should be getting a massage before the Moonual, not fucking asking the general manager who's asleep in the back to walk me up with my McDonald's delivery to my sacred space so that I can just start the, it's like, okay, fuck this. Anyway, that was the story I was in. I learned that during Mars retrograde.
Love that for you.
Yeah.
More open air ramadas.
Open air Ramada is a really good rebrand. No, Natalie, we got to do like, I got to dig more into you and what you do in your chart, because you are kind of I can't wait to find out who you actually are born to be now that you're free from the lessons of the first half of your fucking life.
So excited.
I am too.
It's actually fucking, your chart's like literally in like an ultimate like rebirth. Like you're like, wow, okay,
what do I do now?
I'm here. It's almost like, I don't know, for some reason I'm getting like big like Annie Warbucks vibes, if you know what I mean. Not orphan Annie Warbucks.
I would. Wow.
It's not a hard
enough love to be adopted by a millionaire.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. And then it's like, because now I'm telling you, we're all a team now. So I'll lead, you lead, we'll all lead, and somebody just get a benefactor.
Adopt me.
For us.
Right.
We're good. We're good.
Daddy.
Jessica gets the wigs. I'll book us the hotels.
I'll get the
you
money.
Get us the daddy.
I'll get the daddy.
On that note, we've got to get to work.
Get the daddy.
On that note, we've got some stuff to do.
No, honestly, the only way that we're gonna really get a daddy is a lesbian, because it's like the sexiest thing is not being available. Yeah, like Jessica and I would even. She's married. I'm whatever. We would be a little bit too like, I don't know if I should wear that wig. You're like, no, I don't need your dick, and they'll be like, we need to help this girl. This young girl, we have to support her and the baby, and that other woman, those women, they need us.
Yes.
They need us.
Because I don't need them. Yeah.
Right. It's the ultimate playing hard to get.
I love it. Well, I'm definitely gonna book with you because I have a whole ass daughter now.
We can.
So.
Oh my God, a whole ass daughter. Oh, I cannot believe that. I cannot believe I said that. That is so fucking cool.
So cool.
I like don't remember half the shit I say. Like, I don't know if you have this too, Jessica, but like the other day at the Moonual, someone was presenting something and she was like, well, like what I decided to present. She's like, well, I did what you said and I was going to share that exercise with the group. And I was like, what did I say to do? And she's like, I did the assignment you gave me. And I was like, well,
remind me.
Tell everybody. And I was like, oh, I said to do that. She's like, yeah, you gave me like really specific instructions. I was like, oh. And I'm like, I've never heard that in my fucking life. I'm like, wow.
You're channeling.
That's great. That's fucking great. I love that. Thanks for bringing it back to the Moonual channel so that I can do it too. Otherwise, I would have just moved on.
And the fun thing is, like, you get like a comedian version of your life with Sara. Like, she makes it funny.
I love it.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's hard to put that into like a website though, because it's like what you actually are getting is like a individual a personal improv comedy show about the blueprint of your soul.
It's more digestible when it's funny.
That's a good one though.
Let's I know
it is.
Remember the AI 3:36 p.m. Is it my website? I'm not listening back. So if anybody listens back, just send it to me in an email that I'll open at 4 a.m. in 2 weeks. But
in a fortnight,
maybe in a fortnight, I'll fucking change. I'll give a website and.
Okay.
The next would be on Voxer, if anything.
Yes.
Okay, I gotta walk this dog. He's literally like, I've been such a good boy.
And we've got to walk our dogs.
I have to feed my baby. So.
Well, this was so fun. Thank you guys so much for having me.
Thanks for coming back. Sara.
Fuck yeah, anytime. And thank you, Romy.
Thank you, Romy. Thank you, Mama Maya.
Enjoy your walk.
Thank you. Going to get some seltzer. Bye. Love you guys.
Bye.
Okay, well.